Hello, hello. Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 33-year veteran science fiction, fantasy, horror, comics, and role-playing game writer, artist, and editor. And this week we have a special edition episode. We don't normally cover role-playing games on the show because I've been away from that scene for a while, but my regular co-host, Chris Hall, is active, and one of my best friends from college just created a wonderful gaming system. And so we decided, hey, gotta have him on the show. So without further ado, my co-host, Chris Hall, and Joseph C. Wolf, the Reaper Wolf.
Evening, fellas. How goes?
Good evening. Goes great. I'm really excited to have you on the show. Always down to talk D&D, RPG nerd stuff. So.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much for such a warm welcome.
Oh, yeah. It's been so long, man. We haven't seen each other in person probably since college.
Other than occasional glimpses via Facebook, yeah. I mean, that's basically been it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy, because I haven't been able to go into the gaming convention side of things like I do the comics because unless I'm freelancing, which I have done freelance work for the gaming companies over the years, but I'm not like a regular freelancer, so I don't normally do those because those are like 3 to 4 day shows usually, most of the gaming, and I don't usually have that much time to spend with my my parents being down with health. I always have to quickly get back to them, but that's one of the main reasons. But anyway, Joseph's been around for over 30 years in the gaming industry as a
or at least gaming adjacent, that's for sure. I've been a bit of a bottom dwelling kind of fringe dweller for a long time.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I'll let you say that. I don't like looking at it that way because I remember when, yes, you kind of started, as a freelancer like me, you do occasional freelance assignments here and there when you could get someone to pay attention to you. But then you kind of moved over to the computer gaming side of it for about 10 years, you said?
Yeah. I mean, I still did freelancing on the side. The companies I worked for were very cool about it. And as long as I didn't do anything competing.
Right.
But, when I was working at Volition and working on Saints Row titles, it was pretty easy not to do ultra-violent, gang-related tabletop games. So, it was pretty easy not to upset them,
Right.
Yeah, tabletop RPGs are pretty severely lacking in ultra-violent gang lore stuff. So,
what's interesting, though, there are actually some out there. There's a number that are wonderful. That are fantastically cool games. They're very stylistic. My favorite one is The Spirit of 76, where you play in a blaxploitation movie.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. Super
all
great.
Right.
Yeah.
I've played similar things. Our group played D20 Modern for a while. Mm-hmm. So that was always based around that sort of,
Yeah, it's an action movie. Great games. Yeah. D20 Modern is fantastic. And there's a new version of it that's called Action 20. And I think that it's just the updated version that's kind of 5E'd
gotcha.
to some extent. So, yeah.
I hope the people that watch or listen are going, oh, wait a minute, this is all Greek to us.
Yeah. Let's talk about comic books. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Unfortunately, there's so many of those that I'm just completely out of my depth with, any of the various DC or Marvel. I've seen movies, but I don't have a lot of time to do one more thing. Which is unfortunate because, it's awesome. I mean, it's so cool to go into a comic book store and see what's out there,
Yep.
But it's just one more, pull on my free time.
Yeah.
Right. And you're a fellow Michigander, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So is I'm not really familiar with gaming conventions and stuff in Michigan. Is there a lot of them in Michigan, or?
It turns out there are a fair number in the Midwest. There's a few in Michigan that are really noteworthy. There's Yukon down at Ypsilanti. Marmalade Dog hasn't run for a few years, but that's down in Kalamazoo. There's Novi Fan Convention, Motor City Comic Con in Novi, and that's got gaming now. But they don't return my offers to come and run non D&D things. I think they're kind of entrenched on the one thing they want to do, so that's fine. But there's a number of other smaller conventions that are just around here. But like, since we're in the Midwest, we can easily go down to Indianapolis for Gen Con. Origins down in Ohio. There's Gamehole Con, which is over in Minnesota, maybe. But Gary Con's over in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you can get a ticket, if you get lucky, you can get a ticket. It's like winning the lottery, man. But there's a fair number of those, and so that's kind of nice, because that's actually where it all started, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And I think there's one in Chicago too, isn't there?
Honestly, I don't know, but there could be. I wouldn't be surprised.
All right. Well, as I was saying, you've worked with the Volition for Saints Row, and you worked for Crystal Dynamics, and you said you met your partner with Reaper Minis about 20 years ago. You said.
Yeah, probably longer at this point. I met Ron Hawkins, who is an absolute dream to work with, who is now like the creative director at Reaper, and the chief operating officer. And they've been nothing but a dream to work with for a really, really long time. Very generous, very patient in many cases. But they are very generous, and and it's been a great experience. I wish there was more of me, so we could get even more done. But not so much. There's only so many hours in the day.
Right.
Yeah. So how did this Dungeon Dwellers start for you?
It came out of necessity. I had been working for a video game company for 4 or 5 years, and we were going to be moving to Michigan. And I had to. We were looking at having to relocate all of that equipment and then work remotely, and it was one of those. Well, we've been trying to get this product line off the ground, and there's a lot of demand for it. There's a lot of people really hungry for it, and they love our figures. They love our toys, and so we were just desperate to kind of sort of move forward, but we couldn't do it in a part-time basis anymore. And so I hate to use the word ultimatum, but kind of it was an ultimatum, and it was hire me full-time. Let's devote as much as resources as we can possibly spare to do this. And then so within like mere days before we started the final preparations for moving, it was like 2 weeks out, moving it from Northern California back to Michigan. There were some very important meetings that happened at Reaper, and so they were like, do it. And so I got hired and brought on, and that same day was like, had to contact my boss and say, I need like 15, 20 minutes. And so I had to break the news to my boss that barely, not even 2 weeks out, I was going to have to return all of that equipment, and it made no sense to continue working for the video game company at that point. It was like, nope. I started work on that stuff practically that afternoon. It was like basically right after I was done with work with my bosses. I was like, well, the clock is ticking. So we moved the deadline for me to start that 12 days, but I turned in my equipment, and then the noise you're hearing is my frog across the room. He'll chirp. That's just Church saying hi. He'll go quiet in a minute. But basically, so once I was done there, then we moved, and then that's been full speed ahead ever since.
Okay.
But Dungeon Dwellers, we cover this actually in our player's guide, where we talk about where it came from. The name comes from an old line of miniatures called Heritage, and they were contemporaries with Ralparth and Grenadier. And for a smaller company, they really held their own, but they had these paint and play sessions, and they were like a self-contained game, a little rule book, and then it was a little adventure, and used the figures and the paints in the little box set. Well, we love the name. We still had the name. We still actually owned the IP. We still owned the figures. We still owned the trademark. And so we were like, well, let's go full tilt. Let's lean in hard on what it is, but let's make it familiar. And so that was one of the principles is let's make it Dungeon Dwellers. Let's make it, this isn't fantasy owl people, baristas in a high school Harry Potter setting. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's not what we wanted.
Right.
We wanted dark dungeons. We wanted dangerous monsters. We wanted uncertain outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not our game is not a dating sim, as is often the case with different RPGs with younger gamers. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's just not what we wanted. And so Dungeon Dwellers was birthed full grown, basically out of those design principles.
Yeah, and when Lewis told me that you working for Reaper were developing this gaming system, my first thought was, well, it's about time. Like Reaper's a legend in the industry, and you guys have been making action, miniatures forever. So yeah, it's just like, okay, finally they decided to make a gaming system based around their miniatures. So that's
what's
really
interesting is that we dallied with a number of. When I was in 2011, I was brought to ReaperCon 13 or 14 or whatever it was, and I didn't have anything with me, but I had already written a bunch of odds and ends and casket works and things like that, some web stuff. But I was just brought out and I hung out, but I was just like a complete total third wheel. I'm like, I don't know what to do at a convention if I'm not game mastering. So the next year, 2012, I came out right out of the gate. I had Pathfinder and Savage Worlds stuff. And so I was running our adventures with both and testing the waters. And then since then, we've messed around with Siege, the Siege engine from Castles and Crusades, from the fine trolls at Troll Lord Games. Great game, fantastic game system. Without Castles and Crusades, there wouldn't have been a Dungeon Dwellers. The same way if there wasn't D&D 3.5, Osric, or any of the other retro clones. They all played a role in kind of the evolution. They're all different tools used to kind of like shape our game.
Right.
But we were challenged to come up with something that was both familiar but different, fun but dangerous, and so we walked a tightrope on a lot of different things. And this is, in all honesty, and this sounds very disingenuous, but bear with me. This is literally the game I would have given my 12-year-old self if I had a chance. Because it's written from a completely different point of view than the basic D&D box set that I was given when I was 12 years old for Christmas.
Right.
It's just a different kind of game, but yet it's immediately recognizable as that exact same experience.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I interviewed on my other show. We interviewed a gentleman named Alex from Autark. Have you heard of Autark?
Oh, I know Autark, Adventurer, Conqueror, King. Great game.
Yeah. And so he was. I found that system fascinating. Like,
great game.
It's like you can literally be a party, doing your thing, but you can also take that exact same system. And he's like, and I came up with some really complex math for it, but just tried to make it easy, and to where you can become a king or a general commanding entire armies. So it's got that aspect to it as well.
That is a great game. I actually have the previous iteration of it. The new Imperial imprints that he did in a slipcase are really nice. Those are really sexy books.
Yeah, they are.
I like Adventure. In spite of his hatred of halflings, I'll forgive him for that. It takes a big man for me to forgive something so grievous. But no, his stuff is very good. It's very controversial in some ways. But again, Adventurer, Conqueror, King was very much in mind, and was one of the tools that we definitely used to shape Dungeon Dwellers. Great game.
Very, very cool. All right, I love that. Okay.
Let's take a quick look at the. I'm trying to find the right Chrome tab. Do you want to go to the Kickstarter or do you want to go to the actual reward section on ReaperMini.com?
Why don't we do the rewards thing so I can kind of make the pitch, because I'm really excited about this.
Okay. Just give me a second here. Let me get me.
No problem at all.
Yeah, I don't know how much.
See, I'm all dressed up here. I'm totally shill here, man. Look at this Dungeon Dwellers T-shirt, Reaper baseball
Very nice.
cap.
Very nice.
Yeah, but but the thing is I'm still rocking the Volition ancient sweatshirt. Look at that.
Nice.
This thing, my
Nice.
wife won't even let me out of the house with it. It's so threadbare. It's so torn up. It's like Mr. Rogers' sweater.
That's hilarious.
If he was a crackhead, it's so torn up. Oh my God. But yeah, if she sees me wearing it, I try to leave the house with it. She's like, no, go upstairs and change.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you have to understand, his wife is just like him in the sense that she works the gaming scene too, and she's like, I don't know, how would you describe her part of
an elemental primal force.
Of course, yeah.
She herds cats professionally. She wears a very, very heavy crown, and she does so with dignity and grace, and dare I say, ferocity.
Very well said, sir. Very well.
So she's you don't Rose does, for being this cute little halfling lass. She does not play games, but she does. We met at my buddy's D&D game.
Yeah,
so do you want me to kind of give the pitch about what the people are looking at here?
Yeah, let's do that.
You guys have to forgive me. I got an abundance of personality, and I won the most talkative award when I was in kindergarten. So it's just kind of where we're at. Okay, so what you're looking at here is our Dungeon Dwellers Kickstarter pledge manager. Now, alas, sadly, a tear rolls down my cheek as I say, the Kickstarter ended some time ago, and the pledge manager is just a way to interact with the levels that you've already purchased, backed, whatever you want to say. But here's the thing. Reaper has very generously kept the pledge manager open just a teeny little crack. So you've missed the miniatures, the Game Master screen, the wonderful metal tokens, all the awesome stuff rolled into the Kickstarter, except these wonderful hardcover books, which we have for pre-order on this page. But you can also just go in on the more modest level, which is just the PDFs. But of course, if you buy the books, you may be waiting a few months before you see them. But the PDFs are immediately downloadable, and they will be updated all the time. We will be constantly adjusting as more and more feedback comes in. So these are living documents as far as we're concerned. So they're all modestly priced. I believe it's $60 for the digital edition. So that's 3 absolutely ginormous books, very nice thick books.
Pages a book.
And the print is dirt cheap. I'm not going to lie to you. If you look at a hardcover full color book, I mean, these are full color. So these are full color. But prices for those books have skyrocketed. So this is before shipping, of course. So for $95, you get 3 nice thick hardcover books. Can't really beat that in today's market.
Yeah, when each of those books easily should go for $60 a piece.
Yeah, unfortunately, the days of the $10 monster manual at Ben Franklin's, right?
Yeah,
long gone. But then again,
it's not 1984 either.
No, it's not. It is not. Yeah.
If you're like my friends though, you're gonna get the PDF, but you want that hardcover.
Yeah.
Right.
To show off.
The flutter of the pages is just something you don't get from a PDF.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to be a book guy. I'm always looking for the book.
Yeah.
So, when you buy the print edition, you get the print volumes, and you get the PDF of the Player's Guide, the Game Master Vault, and the Denizens of the Dungeon.
Yep. And you also get the PDF of the Hills Edge Province and West Sparrow Hills book, The Beneath the Fortress of Peril, which is an absolutely enormous adventure I wrote accidentally. It came about, we can talk about it more later, but basically it was accidental. I wrote one adventure, and then we were like, let's do some more. And then I was like, well, we need to do some supplemental material around it. And before you know it, it became a mini campaign expansion.
Yeah. What about the cardstock fortune tokens?
So actually, if you guys want to bear with me and a blank screen for a second,
Okay.
I could actually dig out the metal versions and show people what they look like. So hold on. I got to go all the way across the room to my gaming kit because I was using them in another game last night.
And understand, Joseph's in his, what do you want to call it? Your man cave?
Ogre cave.
Ogre cave.
I don't think we're going to get much other Kickstarter searching done tonight, Lewis.
So,
I can talk to him for 2 hours easily.
So this is what the metal ones look like.
Hold on a
And
second.
as you can see, they are nice and thick. Yeah, I'll show you. Really great image.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Crows, keys, and a skull. And get this. These are just the prototype ones. These are just the prototype ones.
Mm-hmm.
The actual ones are about 3/5 the size, zinc, and bronze or brass.
Oh, wow.
They look like brass. They're really pretty. I have one somewhere. I've got to find it. But they're really pretty, and they are back-sided with this awesome, very sinister-looking chalice. And the finished versions are even nicer. In that brass, and they are from China, so they're all burnished. These are ones that are surfaced by me with just a simple acrylic ink. But yeah, they're like 3/5 this size, and they just the cardboard tokens are nice. Don't get me wrong. But there's a lot to be said about a metal fortune point.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, do you want to explain fortune points
yeah, sure.
a little bit?
So all the people that are into 5e are like, it's inspiration. And my response is, no, it's not. Inspiration is fortune points. Because I've been using them for 30-some years. And what they basically are is they are a reward from the game master to the player for playing the game correctly. You are living up to my expectations. In many cases, you are exceeding my expectations. You are making the game fun. You are showing up on time. You are encouraging other players to do awesome crap. You're taking chances. You're poking at the corners. You're being a good player. Here's a fortune point. So instead of being bound to a dice roll, which can be very arbitrary and heartbreaking, you can spend a fortune point for like 12 different things. And they all bend the rules in specific ways. And it could be a re-roll to the dice roll. It could be confirming a critical hit without having to roll. Maxing out a damage roll. Yes, you can do both. You can confirm a critical hit and max the damage out to really knock the dragon out of the air with one hit. Presumably with a black arrow. Tolkien reference. But basically, you can seize initiative. If what you're doing seems rational and reasonable and it fits within the narrative, then a fortune point is what it will cost you. And what's cool about them is that the game master's not the only one who can give them away. A player can look at another player and go, dude, that kicked ass. I think he deserves a point. And somebody at the table has to second it. That way it's kind of democratic. And then the game master, as an autocrat, a benign one, says yes or no. And usually you have to go above and beyond. Just doing your job isn't enough. You have to do it with style,
you have to role play. I mean, so many people, and I think this has come from the people who are familiar with collectible card gaming. They don't role play. They just, my character's doing this now.
Well, I mean, one of the things I talk about in the Game Master's book is not everyone has to turn in a Laurence Olivier performance.
No, they don't.
This isn't Downton Abbey, right?
Right.
But it can be. There are some people that are comfortable with blah 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 blah. 100% in character, right? They show up in costume. Other people are like, well, this is what my character would like to achieve. Yes. And then I use these resources to bring that about. I play with a number of autistics at the table that are on the spectrum in different places, and I'm very careful with expectation, because somebody comes to the table and they're intimidated because they're new, right? And they've got this giant guy at the end of the table, judge, jury, and executioner, and we don't want to be like that. We want to, like, here's how you come to the table and have fun with us. Here's how you, and maybe it doesn't work out, but I'm going to find you. I'm going to find you a group that will work out. Hopefully, it does work out though. But yeah, there's different levels to every hobby, and it's like that's why dabblers, and they're cool too.
Yeah, you see, like you said, you intimidate people somehow with the way your size. You're a big person, and that was kind of like when I did the first graphic for this. Him and his wife Rose were dressed up as the two characters from Monsters Inc.
Sully and Boo from Monsters Incorporated.
Yeah, so
Rose was like a head shorter than me.
Yeah, so I went ahead and let him be Sully.
I was Sully.
Yeah, and I took a picture. I took the picture that was Sully, and I put that up. And he goes, "No."
I love that picture. I have it on my desktop as part of a screensaver. But I'm like, you know what? We'll use the one taken from the balcony at the Grand Californian at Disneyland. Yeah. And I'm wearing like a Reaper. I'm wearing a D&D basic shirt. I'm wearing my Reaper hat. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Yeah, right. I'm like, no, that's more what people are going to see when they come to a convention or you come to my table. That's what you're.
Well, that's true. I was trying to show the fun-loving.
Yeah, well, I mean, you nailed that. Yeah, but I was just like, nah, we got to do more. We got to be more professional. I got to represent.
Yeah.
So.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, as far as role playing goes, I like it. I like the role playing to be somewhere between Vampire the Masquerade and Mech Warrior. Somewhere in between there.
Nice choices. Very nice choices.
Yeah.
I one of the things I always tell people is that as a game master, my persona is always you have to pick which direction you want to go in. It's the Venn diagram of Mary Poppins and Darth Vader. And so I shoot for Darth Poppins. and so that's kind of my persona at the table. Some game masters want to be your friend. Right. They're not going to kill your character, or they're going to talk about their feelings. Nothing wrong with that. And some are the hard asses. They're going to kill your character. They're going to go out of their way to do it. And again, right group, that's fine, and I'm all about it, But what I also tell people is, don't tell me absurd stories and expect me to be impressed, because I've been doing this for a long time, and it's rare that somebody pulls something out of the hat that makes me go, wow. And I wish I was more easily impressed, but unfortunately, I like every other designer, I've become a little jaded over the years, So, but I love it when someone does. I love when someone surprises me, and I just go, yeah, nice. I love that.
Okay, let's go back to the thing here, and so you could get the print that had both the print and the PDF, and then the 60 is just the PDFs. And that's what you get there. And 60 is still, really good price. That's like $20 a book,
oh yeah, that's nothing.
$20. Well, actually, it's $20 for the book plus the adventure. You get 2, 3, 4 adventures here.
Yeah. Right? Well, yeah. Well, the Hills Edge Province and the West Sparrow Hills source book is a gazetteer, so it's a setting guide to what I consider to be the ideal adventuring location, because there's so much there. It's perfect. It's our Sword Coast. It's our chunk of the Forgotten Realms.
Okay. And then, of course, you got, when I said you had 4 games, I mean, you had parts 1 through 3 of the Beneath the Fortress of Peril, and then a Ton of Trouble.
Oh, I forgot about Ton of Trouble. That's a fun one. That's a neat little, that's a city-based adventure involving the theft of a barrel of quality liquor from a basement. I wrote that a million years ago. But yeah, that's a fun little adventure.
Nice little
that was based
pun
on-
you have there in the Ton of Trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I come from the Ed Greenwood school of puns, and so that's one of the ones that I rein it in for the most part. But that was one I was absolutely adamant, like, no, we've got to keep this name because it's really funny. Even though we are not technically after a ton. A ton is like 100 gallons. This is only a small barrel, but that's a deceptively rough adventure. You want a total party kill? That one turns real murdery real fast.
You bunch of murder hobos.
But they're on the receiving end of it because it's one of those scenarios that turns really dark really fast. And if you run in counting on death saves, which we don't have in Dungeon Dwellers, if you count on largesse, the game master pulling punches, as presented, that does not happen in that scenario. So it's really reliant upon the players being cautious, working together, and being smart. Otherwise, it turns real ugly real fast.
Okay.
And
here's some more.
go ahead.
The pages, are these still available as well?
Okay, so as far as I know, these are not selectable right now. I haven't tried to select them.
Okay, let me
but
see.
It was my understanding only the PDFs and only the books were available. I don't know what happens if you try to check out. If it works, cool. Because those tokens are awesome.
Yeah.
But
you actually offer to paint too.
Yeah, there's a master series. We actually have another series of paints coming out, but Reaper makes some of the nicest miniature paint on the planet. And I'm of course I'm a little compromised here, I guess. But yeah. So,
just a little biased.
A little bit biased, yeah. Now, here's something. Could you pause on Caverns of Doom here real quick? So here's what happened with Caverns of Doom. It is part of the Kickstarter. We added it late, and we are so stretched thin that it is not ready to ship with the rest of the stuff. So that when Ron presses the big green go button, what will happen is everything but the Caverns of Doom will be part of the fulfillment. What will happen, though, is a period of time later, the Caverns of Doom will be shipped at Reaper's cost to you. So if you backed the Caverns of Doom as part of our Kickstarter, you're getting it, but you're practically getting it at cost because of the way that the math all works out. It's a simply fantastic mega adventure. It's just the upper halls. There will be a mid halls, there will be a lower halls, and then there will be the dark reaches. This is our mega dungeon. This is our Undermountain. And so anything and everything that I could ever want to put in a mega dungeon is going into the Caverns of Doom.
Okay.
Very, very cool. Now I had I did take time to I'm sorry, Lewis. Go ahead and breeze. Yeah, go ahead and go through this.
Yeah, t-shirts available? Because I would love to get a t-shirt.
Man, those color t-shirts. I've got one of the spectral ones on, but those color ones look awesome. I believe they're part of our merch program, so I believe you can just order them.
Okay.
I believe. One way for you guys to find out. I wish I had more time to devote to like playing around with, different parts of our Kickstarter, but I think so. I think you can order them right now because they're available at conventions. So
this seems, according to what I've shown here on the screen, I can order it. So
along with your address, quick, everyone, dox them.
But it doesn't really matter because yeah, they always dox everybody.
You say that now, but tomorrow when you wake up and I'm outside of your door in a trench coat holding a big boom box playing.
Dude, if you're going to come all the way from Michigan to South Carolina to do that, come on.
Worth the trip.
Oh, my God.
So I had time to breeze through your guidebooks, but I wasn't aware that you didn't have a death save system. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
So Dungeon Dwellers takes the cork off the fork. Now, like anything else, I always say your game, your rules. If you want to snap off one of the Lego pieces and snap another one on, I encourage you to do so. If you want death saves, cool. Just be aware you're telling your players that there's a very significant safety net. And that isn't wrong. It's got a design implication. Dungeon Dwellers has multiple gods of death. And quite frankly, the gods of death are a little pissy. And so one of the things that happens is that the major god of death, Dathma, who is portrayed as like the Grim Keeper, right? And so one of the things he's also known as he's also the god of games, the god of theater, and so one of the things he did was he had the god of thieves sneak into the Celestial Library, and they stole the raised dead resurrection magic. And so to get a pass to come back, you have to have one of the Ashen Keys, which are these perpetually ashy keys. And the priesthood very tightly controls those. And you can't just manufacture them. And so resurrection is not easy in the game. It's also very expensive. We have a whole tree of magic covering resurrection. And once you pass away, once your soul is gone, it's very complicated to get somebody to come back. And so the death saves, which are gone, are replaced by a game master rolled behind the screen of D4 rounds. So that when you hit 0 or negative hit points, you have a random amount of time before one of the gods of death shows up and takes you away. In fact, in gameplay, the game master will have one of the gods of death appear and approach you and get closer and closer as that D4 timer runs down. And so the reason why this exists is I refer to this as the Glenn rule. Okay, Glenn was one of our game masters. He's a very good guy. He's a very accomplished game master, and he runs a lot of 5e. And he would tell these horror stories of players not casting healing magic on other player characters because, and get this, because it's not cost effective until they're at 0. And that was really upsetting. I'll be honest. I was sitting next to him at the convention, and I was furious because there's a million things that ran through my brain, and a lot of them were, so I sit here, I'm here out of the game at the mercy of the monsters because you can't be bothered to cast Cure Light Wounds on me. When there are so many magics that restore hit points in 5e. So anyways, it's more or less my knee-jerk reaction that reinforces the tropes of the setting of it's a very grim and perilous setting. It's a very dangerous setting where the monsters don't care about you being down. You're down, you're not dead. And so the amongst other things, fortune points, up comes full circle, can also be spent to instantly stabilize. But you're not out of you can't buy hit points back. Once you're down, you can't get hit points back, but you can spend them for like recovery rolls, like second wind is one of the things you can do. Okay. Yeah, the game is intended to be dangerous. Critical hits hurt. at all levels. And you know, it's very easy for monsters to gang up and very quickly whittle somebody down because we don't have the number of hit points that other D20 games do, and quite frankly, the weapon damage and monster damages are kind of high by design.
Okay. When you said the God of Death shows up on the field, I immediately imagined what is it, Greg the Grim Reaper from is it Conker's Bad Fur Day? You know, and that oh those freaking cats and their 9 lives and damn those
And but the thing is, it's a dial. It's a dial like any other, and the players and the game master can negotiate what they want to have happen in the game. And I talked about death in the Game Master's book, and it's very touchy-feely and very in right now to talk about, you know, oh, we have to have a little meeting to discuss, you know, whether or not there's death in the game. And I think that's a good question. I think it's worth discussing, but by default, the game is rough. But the Game Master's Vault does have options. It does incorporate. We talk about death saves. We as one of the options. One of the other, I also frequently provide an Iron Man option. The Iron Man option is at 0 hit points, you're dead.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of game masters that do that.
You want to see players panic when I pick up that D4, and I have a big D4 that I roll behind the table, behind the screen, because you can hear it hit the table, go bam, 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 bam. You want to see players scramble. There's none of that players waiting to cast healing spells on each other and, you know, outside of, you know, when someone's down. There's none of that I've ever seen in my games. The players are afraid of me getting out that D4. They are afraid when they see that big blue D4 come out. It's like a fast break, you know, trying to get the ball in basketball. It's just like they try to get in there and sort things out because they know that the monsters don't care.
Yeah.
And I always have extra monsters in reserve.
So speaking of, you know, D4s and gaming system stuff like that, so your system is predominantly D20 based, but it does vary. It veers off of that first. So do you want? Could you talk about that a little bit?
The entire resolution system is D20 roll high. 1s provoke a possible fumble. 20s potentially provoke a critical success. We have options for critical saving throws. And both fumbles and critical hits. Those are options, not by default, but I frequently use it. But everything else is D20 roll high, and you add your ability score adjustment, which is 0 to +5 or whatever, and then 0 to -5. And then to that some portion of your level is added, depending upon what you're doing. Attack rolls rely upon fighting ability, where you would think fighters are the best, and then wizards are the worst, and clerics and rogues are in the middle. And as we added more classes and stuff, it'll get a little more fiddly, but in general, it'll stick exactly to that format of level divided by 2, level divided by 4. In all cases, drop the fraction. So you instantly know what your attack bonus is if you know what level you are.
Okay, that's very cool.
And the same thing goes for all ability checks. We do not have skills in the game. There are no skill lists in our game. Quite frankly, I can go this entire podcast talking about why. But the big reason is I wanted to empower game masters and players to organically construct what characters are good at, what monsters are good at. And so we provide a lot of guidelines, but a lot of it really comes down to what the character's background is, what the character's class is, what their race is, which we call folk for various reasons. All of those elements together paint a very elaborate picture. And you're going to get some people that are going to be like, oh, it's a flexible game system. My character's going to be good at everything. Well, yeah, I talk about that actually in the material, and it's like, well, that's not possible. Because if you claim to be good at all these things, you won't be great at any of them. And so the game master can say, no, you've never made a ride roll in this game. So why are you trying to claim that you were an expert rodeo rider at level 10 when we've never even seen you look at a horse. And so the
Right.
game master can call bullshit and say no. But here's where it gets interesting. If the game master says you're unfamiliar, you get half your level. If you're proficient, you get your full level. That's stuff that you should be good at, right? And but if you're familiar, you get half your level. If you're non-proficient, you get 1/4 your level. And then there's unfamiliar, which you know nothing about it. So like a fighter picking up a crystal ball, never seen it, never heard of it, never even saw anyone use it, right? And you pick it up and try to use it. Well, you're not going to use any of your level, right? But you can try. But if the fighter was trying to drive a chariot, and that's part of his background, he was an actual gladiator, and he, rode the chariot, or in one way or the other, then adding his level seems perfectly reasonable. And that's how every role in the game outside of combat rolls and saving throws works. Whether you're picking a lock, looking for a trap, trying to provoke a monster to attack you so it doesn't attack the wizard who's down hit points. And it all comes down to player and game master. And I hate to use the word negotiation, but it is. The player telling a very brief story of why their character is good at something. And once you've played it together for a while, you know what the player characters are good at. You just know.
Right.
And this is how the game used to work back in AD&D First Edition, before the Dungeoneer Survival Guide and Wilderness Survival Guide added non-weapon proficiencies.
Right.
But instead of, and like I said, I can go hours about this. This prevents the use rope problem. And that is, use rope was a joke in 3X. And they got rid of it and folded into survival in 3.5. But they got rid of a lot of those skills in 5e. Because they were paring the skill list down to make it manageable. Do I make a profession roll or do I make a craft roll? So I don't make you make the hard choices. I let you craft your background with culture, your trade, details about your class experiences, your racial experiences. It all kind of creates this rich tapestry of information, and there's no list. Like it's in your little journal write-up. It's all there. And then anything that's not there.
And it makes your characters more unique that way too.
And I love that
skill list. It's just soft.
Yeah, I love that, because there's been so many times where I'm creating characters, and the set background list from 5e is like, I don't like any of those. Why do I have to be a soldier? Why do I have to be a criminal? Why do why does it have to be
and
one?
You weren't born a soldier.
Yeah.
You didn't drop out of your mom's womb and pick up a sword.
Right.
What were you trained to do before you failed and became a soldier?
Right.
And so this doesn't require, and in the game, here's the deal, in 5e, and I'm not banging on 5e, it's a great game. It does what it's supposed to do, it's great. But here's the thing. If you want to take a skill in 5e, you have to make a really hard choice. And that is, do I take a feat, which gives me a bunch more skills? But I now suck at, I'm now a whole level or 2 or 3 behind on my efforts to be better at whatever it is I want to be better at.
Right.
And it's, if I'm never called to make a skill roll versus those other skills, why did I blow the feet on it?
Right. And this system almost forces you to specialize.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's languages and crafts and knowledge skills are like the language is the lowest rung in the game. I give them away like candy. Because we have like 40 human languages.
Mm-hmm.
And so giving out hands and tongues is no big deal. Crafts, I'm the same way with like craft knowledge. If someone's like, well, it says in the game that we should probably have a trade. Can I pick 2? I don't think being a haberdasher and a glass blower is going to break the game. It's not going to ruin the game. So that's one of those little dials that you can just tweak. It's fine. It won't hurt a thing. And that's how skills work. And if you don't use something for a while, here's the big pitch. Here's the really cool pitch. If in 5e, again, not banging on it, you don't ever take ride, you will always suck at riding. You will never get better.
Right.
And what happens in Dungeon Dwellers is that you get 1/4 your level, unless there's justification for you've never seen a horse. You're an Aztec. You've never seen a horse before, right? You're an Arab. You've never seen a large body of water before. So swimming is impossible. Those are exceptions to the rule, right? So those are unusual circumstances. So you're going to get to use 1/4 your level. So at level 20, you're going to get a +5 on your ride roll. Same thing goes for saving throws.
Very nice.
You never have dexterity as a proficient save at level 20. It sucks. At least in Dungeon Dwellers, you'll get 1/4 your level.
Okay, I like that.
Those are hard pitches for what? Not better, just different.
Different.
By different, I mean better.
I love that.
Okay, so again, go to this address, ddrpg.reapermini.com, and check out the system for the level rewards. This is where you can order the post-campaign orders, and you can get the print edition for $95, and that includes your PDFs or the digital edition for the books. And again, let's go ahead and look at the details. You get the Player's Guide, the Game Master's Vault, the Denizens of the Dungeon books, Beneath the Fortress of Peril, parts 1 to 3, and a ton of trouble, and a print copy and or PDF copy of Hill's Edge Province and West Peril Hills source books. So that's basically 5 major books and 4 adventures for $95.
And if I can sweeten the deal here, rumor has it that the notoriously brilliant Jason Wiebe, one of our sculptors, is sculpting one of the monsters, perhaps several, from the Fortress of Peril, which includes an absolutely awful zombie minotaur. I haven't seen it yet, but if it's even close to what I put on paper, it's going to be awful, and everyone's going to want to own one.
That sounds amazing.
Peril is awesome. I cannot say enough things about that adventure. It was if you've ever read Secret of Bone Hill, which was a little mini campaign. We talked about the area around the hill. It wasn't just the dungeon. It was all the stuff around it. Keep on the Borderlands. It was all the stuff around it. I did the same thing here. It was strategically built from the ground up for it to be very friendly to the what do we do tonight? Well, let's go off to the Fortress of Peril. Let's go back in. I know we cleaned it out when we did the first part of it, but there's more that we can explore.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if Lewis will allow me, I have a few more.
He's got about 10 minutes.
All right.
Oh man, look at him! Look at the watch. What a tyrant! Wow.
Well, you said you had an hour.
You know what, guys? I'm having a great time, and I'm 100% available to you. So whatever you guys want. You want to give me out 10 minutes? I'll go for cider and donuts, man. I've got a plan. But if I have to wait till tomorrow morning for my cider and donuts, I'll totally do that. Whatever works.
Okay.
Whatever's best for you guys. I'm just grateful to be here.
Okay, well go ahead. Chris.
Okay, so going through your player guides, I noticed that it is very select in its races, its player races.
It is.
There's human, halfling, dwarf, and elf, and that's it. There's two kinds of
specific types of halfling too. It's not like
there's two
different kinds. Yeah.
Is there any plan for expansion on that? And what's your answer to the people? Well, I want to play a Minotaur. I want to play this. I want to play that.
Well, so if you crack open the monster book, you can see how. And I talk about monsters as player characters in the Game Master's book.
Okay.
And I have the same opinion that Gygax does, and that is, if that's what you want to do. Here's how to break down monster descriptions to get their racial bonus, and then everything else is just tack it on, movement rate, attacks, etc., and then just go from there. If that's what you want to do, cool. I mean, I have fond memories of Dark Sun playing Thri-kreen and half giants, and but that's not Lord of the Rings.
You have fond memories of Dark Sun?
Very fond
Like,
memories of
an
Dark
entire world was designed to kill you.
It was. But the thing is that it kicked a lot of things in the ass, and it said Wolfgang Bauer did an amazing job with that setting, and so it's very controversial for a lot of reasons. But I have no problem with people wanting to play other things, but here's the thing: when you present the world's largest buffet, you go to Vegas, right? Nobody does the whole buffet, right? It's just not possible.
Mm-hmm.
You try, but ultimately you pick the areas you want to go to. And I kind of did the same thing with Dungeon Dwellers, and I said 4 classes, 4 folk, and the classes are cleric, fighter, rogue, and wizard. Right? Where's the paladin? Where's the barbarian? I like playing the warlock from this obscure third-party product. Great. But the thing is that if we had put all of that in, the book would have been this thick or thicker, because we give 2 full pages to basically every class and every one of the folk. So that's a lot of pages just in that.
Right.
And then if you look at if we've only got 2 spellcasting classes, you only have wizard spells and you only have cleric spells, and they only go up to, and this is very fudgy, they only go up to by rote to like level 10. But when you use magic points, you can scale up your spells way higher than that. Yes, we have spells beyond level 10 because we don't use the 5e, 3x, 2e first edition version of spell levels. We broke that real hard. Very, very effectively, I might add. I'm very proud of our spell point system. But the thing is that when everything is available, it becomes the Star Wars Cantina scene.
Right.
Okay.
And is that wrong?
No.
It doesn't feel like D&D to me anymore. It doesn't feel like Dungeon Dwellers.
It feels like Star Frontiers.
It feels like Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars or Star Frontiers.
And Star Frontiers didn't have that many races. Even if you added Zebulon's Guide, there were only like 10 races, right?
Right.
Whereas you get more than that in Star Wars in the core rulebook.
Yeah.
But that's not wrong. I mean, if that's your view of the universe, that's cool. But I really wanted that focus experience. Here is the fighter, and it's the footfall of the fighter is boom, right? And the cleric feels like significantly different, and the rogue feels significantly different. The same isms that we saw in 4th edition, which I think had a lot of design success, that's not here. And so that's why we did what we did. As far as expansion goes, dude, my playtest group already includes a bard, a barbarian, or rather berserker. My boss and I are still fighting over the name, to be honest. I haven't capitulated on that because barbarian's a culture, not a character class. Rangers, paladins, sorcerers have appeared in stat blocks because I do like the sorcerer. Although coming up with an alternate version of them that is going to be interesting. But for like a lot of the really obscure classes, you might be a druid, for example, is one of the ones that'll be in. We will have a player's companion of some kind, and we might do web extras where right after we launch, we'll start throwing out, here's a 2-page addendum. Here's our version, and here's our version of the paladin. Here's our version of the ranger, whatever. So we have plans because they're already in the Hills Edge province. If you look at the Hills Edge province, there's all kinds of references to paladins and rangers, and in the stat block, it's like a little 3rd level paladin or something. So it's coming. It's coming. It just work. There's only so many of us, and And Wizards of the Coast they've had 40 some years to get it right, and they have a lot of designers. It's just me. So so we had to kind of keep things focused. Also, quite frankly, I don't think we needed anything more from the core rulebook. I think anything more would have been
overkill.
The word I used originally was gaudy.
Yeah.
Excessive.
Overkill.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question is, any plans or designs in the future for like a D&D Beyond type system or app or anything like that?
So are you okay? So you're talking about the app, right? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that would be exciting. But the question is it a better idea to support Roll20 that already has a platform? I don't know. I think it'd be great to support all of them, but that kind of platform is extremely expensive, not just to get running, but to maintain and upgrade. You know, to evolve it, and so that would I don't even know how we would. I'd love to, but I don't even know how we would make that happen with our resources. To be perfectly honest, I mean, the toys are very expensive to produce. We're taking on another whole stream of money going out with the paper product and the PDFs and stuff, because it takes effort to produce those.
Right.
So I would like to see it happen in a couple years, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
But we haven't even discussed any kind of possibility of it. But we have said we are 100% open to it when the time is right.
Okay. Very, very cool. Yeah. I was just curious if there was anything like that coming in the future, because I know there's a lot. I mean, my group included, we love D&D Beyond. So we love that app. We love how, we just love it. So
I don't want to poo-poo on it, but I can provide personal color if that's okay.
Sure.
I hate it.
Okay.
And here's why. I've met a lot of players that are completely incapable of managing a character sheet.
That's true.
And so is this me being a Luddite? Back in my day, we didn't even have character sheets. We didn't have a Xerox machine to make character sheets. It's not wrong. I mean, that's the tool available to you, and it works great. And it does. Don't get me wrong. It works great. But it really bothers me when somebody can't do simple addition on 2 pieces of paper.
Right.
That to me represents a certain lack of mental agility. Not at all players, obviously. I'm sure there's plenty of players that don't need it. But from a personal perspective, I think that I've talked to some people, and they've said, and I don't agree with this, that it breeds a weak gamer. And I'm like, that's pretty unfair. That's really unfair.
I can see that though, but for a bunch of guys who have been playing this since the early '80s, the shiny new toy is like, ooh, I like this.
I see,
but it's also Wizards of the Coast's way of going, well, if you want to play this character class and this character, you have to buy this digital book.
I could with the amount of rancor I have towards certain companies, could be multiple nightly podcasts for a month.
Mm-hmm.
I will simply say this: we are in an amazing time right now where there are so many great moral and ethical companies out there that deserve your shekels, and it's. I encourage people to try lots of different kinds of games. And if that means Wizards of the Coast gets a few less dollars, then
well, I 100% honestly want to try your gaming system because it sounds fascinating. So I'm going to heavily push that to give that a try for our group.
I really appreciate that. I really do, because Dungeon Dwellers is written for you. It was literally written for you. It was your game. My boss, Ron Hawkins, he was my audience. You're my audience. This was written for my 12-year-old self, and I want it to be. I don't want to conquer the world. I just want to make something really cool, and that was one of our goals. It's just make something really fun. Cracking open that first AD&D Player's Handbook and going, what the hell is this?
Right.
I'm desperate to do this. Can I show you guys something real quick? I know I've already dominated the game. Things playing up.
Oh, I have one more question, so go ahead.
So when I got my start, I was in the 3rd grade, and we had a half an hour a week of just unstructured, pick something off the shelf and read it. And so they happened to have Dynamite magazine. I love Dynamite magazine. Mm-hmm. And it was a great kids magazine in the 80s.
Yep.
And they happened to feature Dungeons and Dragons. And I had never heard of it. I didn't have an uncle. I didn't have any cousins, an older sibling, nothing. And I read about it 100 times, 1,000 times. And I knew I needed to be like, either it makes sense or it doesn't. And there was a clear missing puzzle piece in my persona. And this would fill it. And it would also distract me and create some other problems later on down the road as I struggled with typical teenage bullshit. But it was foundational to me. So as an old person, I was able to actually acquire an actual Dynamite magazine 84. This is the real magazine. Mm-hmm. Open to the relevant pages, and my first view of Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing games. And it changed the direction of my life. And so it's framed, and it actually sits above my CMU diploma on my wall. And so it's as much as I'm saddened by kind of like the direction of where certain games have gone, my heart and soul are still there. That 12-year-old Saturday afternoon playing with Robbie Matthews. And I actually give this whole story, it's actually in the Game Master's book. But it was magical, and it really changed things for the better. It really, and I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for this Mrs. Lewis letting me actually read this in class, and then at the end of the year, she let me keep it. So I was able to take that magazine home. This is not it. It was destroyed 1 million years ago. So this was purchased off of eBay, but it's still here, and it's one of my treasured things.
That is incredibly cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So my last official question of the night is, every gaming system has to have that iconic monster. And most of them do the Beholder. And of course, you have your version of the Beholder. But where did you?
Nobody can pronounce it, but we have one.
Yeah, where did you come up with the name? How did I'm assuming you went, look, we have to have a Beholder type creature. How did you come about that?
So we knew okay. So I have secondhand and thirdhand knowledge about the eye beast. Okay, so I wasn't involved in the sculpting, its conceptualization or anything, but I am aware of a bunch of stuff about it. One, Reaper wanted to sell Beholder miniatures. We did not want Wizards of the Coast causing us problems. So we never used any of their art. And we were careful with how it was portrayed. There's a proportion thing, there's a position of eyes, number of eye stalks, there's a bunch of little elements to it because it's not part of the open gaming license. Any aberration is not part of the open gaming license. Mind Flayers, Displacer Beasts, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
So we produced several different eye beast type creatures. In fact, our Eye of the Deep, whatever they ended up calling it, is probably one of the best ones produced ever. I think it's amazing. Our eye beast has undergone several different iterations. And so when the monster book came along, and what the hell, might as well crack it open and show it, right?
Because I'm very familiar, like I'm a word guy, right? So like, and when I come across a name that I'm just like completely not familiar with at all, I have no idea where that came from, I want to know.
So yeah, ours is called the Fimgrotch, right? So, so the Fimgrotch is just gibberish.
Okay. All right.
It sounds Welsh. I looked up a bunch of Welsh words, and I looked at their basic construction, and I imagine this is a feral Neanderthal version of beholders. Beholders are sophisticated genocidal monsters in all editions of D&D, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
The Fimgrotch is a Neanderthal malevolent monster. There's no sophistication to it at all. And at least that version of it. Now, if your game master wants to make one smarter, and because every monster in that book has variants, right? You can create, modify, do all kinds of stuff. So it's clearly inspired by, certain eye-based monsters, right? But it's our complete new take. Like if you look at all the powers of the various eyes, it's different. I think that I hate to use the word wimpy, but I think that the 3X version of it was horribly wimpy. It was a challenge rating 13 monster that was easily killable by a challenge rating an ECL 7 or 8 group pretty easily. Didn't have the hit points to back up that challenge rating 13. And then I think the 5e version was pretty wimpy too. But then again, all the monsters were wimpy in 5e. That's why they did the new monster book. Right. They admitted it themselves that their monsters were wimpy.
That being said, we went against a beholder that pretty much almost kicked our party's ass.
They're very circumstantial. The game master was running it brutally and was rolling well, and you weren't rolling well. Any monster can steamroll the party if the conditions are right.
Right.
And
it should be, because that's what a fight is.
Well, I talked about that actually in the Game Master's book, where put aside any notions of the fair fight. There are no fair fights.
Mm-hmm.
And there are fights you can win. There are fights you can run away from.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of comes back to one of your early questions. Is it comes down to a certain degree of emotional maturity and thinking outside of the metagame experience. Oh, if it's on the table, we're supposed to kill it. If we're supposed to kill it, we should be able to kill it in 2 or 3 rounds. If that's the case, then we're never going to back down. We're just going to keep fighting until we're all dead. Hey, why are we all now dead? It's a disconnect between players and game master expectations. And
did you watch Lord of the Rings?
Well, see, that's the thing, right? The thing is that the players are, and this is an earlier iteration problem with, say, D&D 3X, which was it presented one set of expectations in the player's book. These are the rules. These are inviolable. Every system is presented to you. The players knew more about the system than the game master did, so the game master had to become an expert of the player's book too.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, these are the rules and they're inviolable. And the game master cracks open the Dungeon Master's Guide and it says, your word is law. Feel free to change anything you want. And so already there was a wedge driven between players and game masters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the biggest problems with 3X gaming. It was a brilliant game. It was foundational to dungeon dwellers, especially a lot of the tactical stuff. Because we have free swings, attacks of opportunity. But we have maneuvers, which are a much softer, more encouraging option. But it was found. I mean, it was groundbreaking. D&D 3X. It was absolutely groundbreaking. But it was very dishonest with regards to how it presented information. And I always felt that was a problem with it. And Pathfinder did a lot to soften that up, because they said, well, here's the game master's and player's book all at once. You all have the same. It's this thick, but you all have the same information.
Right.
But yeah, that was one of the big problems I had. So what's one of the stumbling blocks? It was interesting, but those are good questions to ask, though. Those are good things to discuss between players and game master to kind of arrive at what the sweet spot for what's fun for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So are you got any more questions, Chris?
Oh, look,
bring it.
I could talk to him for another 2 hours. What are your thoughts on Vox Machina and animated, a TV series based on gaming system or gaming adventures and stuff? Do you
Well,
guys have any interest in that at all, or?
So I'm going to kick it back to you. What do you think?
I think, okay, I love Vox Machina. I
Okay,
think
cool.
it is phenomenal. I think it's just one of the best things. It's one of the best cartoons to ever come out in the last 20 years. So
I can't speak to it because I've never watched it.
So I think that the absolute explosive popularity of gaming, D&D for the most part, is due to Roll20 and Vox and everything that it spawned. And I am eternally grateful to that clouder of very pretty people doing what a bunch of ugly people have been doing for 40 some years.
And getting paid for it now.
And getting paid and becoming modest, well, not just modest, very successful as a result. So other than a little professional jealousy, I am 100% cool with it. And anyone who likes those things, great. I don't have a lot of free time. And there's a lot of that stuff. So picking what to watch with regards to all of the, page throughs and reviews and everything that's available nowadays that just didn't exist 30 years ago is bewildering and to me. And I don't get any enjoyment off of watching other people play games for any period of time. So, and I know that there's a certain degree of scripting that happens no matter what, and that there's too much money on the line not to, and I understand that. And so, to me, it kind of falls in the same realm of reality television, reality program. So, it's wonderful if you're into it. I wouldn't even say I tolerate it. I'm not indifferent to it. I'm ambivalent towards it. It's just not something that's part of my, routine. I'd rather read a book than watch the gang at Critical Role. I watched maybe 20 minutes of an episode once. I used to watch Will Wheaton's Game Table, and I have stories. I'm pretty sure Mr. Wheaton made some pretty serious changes after I provided some feedback at one point about kind of how things went down in their Titanfall demo. And so by no coincidence, he unfriended me on Facebook within a month or two, providing that feedback. So it was made with all due respect. It was just, this is how I saw a lot of messing around and a lot of personality, like everyone kind of vying for who's the wackiest at the table. And I've run those games. I'm just like everyone else. I'm trying to be wacky. But I don't really enjoy watching a game master struggle trying to keep everything kind of flowing to properly demonstrate not just the game, but also their setting. And so one of my criticisms was, hey, try to make it a little more focused on the game and less cult of personality.
Yes. Being a dungeon master, game master is very much akin to being, it's like herding a bag of cats.
Yeah. About it, but yeah.
Now, this is that went too far. This is the PDF.
And we've had that art from Wayne for a long time.
That looks like blue too.
I pushed really hard to get this on our player's guide. There were several alternatives, including Izzy Talon Collier, who is a remarkably talented artist, who's one of the old school Reaper artists. And we went round and around on options, and we made sure to include everything that we could get out of her. And I think, is she on the back of the player's guide? I remember.
Let me see.
She's in there somewhere. She's got a bunch of pieces in here. But anyways, Wayne, his work is just so outstanding. There was practically a gun to our head. We were just like, no, we got to use this. And he's also on our Game Masters book. So.
Yeah, I believe I came across the first piece of art I came across from him was War Duke, and I was just like,
Yeah. And this is
you
our test copy, so it's only about 99% done. So there's a couple things that are still, like the table of contents, and there's a couple pieces of artwork. Other than that, this book is ready to hit the big green button.
Yeah. And, you know, I love this stuff, though. I mean, you know,
And to be clear, Ron Hawkins, who's the creative director, the chief operating officer at Reaper Miniatures, and my number one bromance. Sorry, Lewis. But yeah, Ron is definitely my number one guy, and I will always be his guy. Just did a phenomenal job.
I would say I was like, was I even in the top 5?
You're in the top 10, man. It's cool. I'm still talking to you. But yeah, he just did an absolutely amazing job taking all the Scrabble pieces I just threw at him and turning it into a cohesive whole. It's just phenomenal on his part.
Yeah, I love the little pieces, you know, that they've done with these.
Well, check that out right there, that dwarf. That's a really cool example. That's Jim Holloway of Paranoia. The face, the guy who drew the most distinctive, iconic fantasy and paranoia art ever. And his work is in my book. And not just one piece, but there's several pieces. And also in the Game Masters book and the Monster book, huge. Christine Van Patten did a lot of our the pictures of the different folk, like the halfling here. So she just knocked it out of the park with these beautiful, very soulful, very soft lit figures. I'm looking forward to see what she does with some of our more unusual folk, because we do have 3 different kinds of halfling, 5 or 6 kinds of elves, and 3 or 4 different kinds of dwarves. We even have half orcs, halflings, which is very controversial. We have half ogres. We have luminarians, which are our version of the Azamar, but they're not quite the
Max
same.
piece, right? Max Dunbar.
Yep, I believe that's Max Dunbar.
Yeah,
Phenomenal stuff out of him. Max is just so wonderful to work with. He and I haven't shared one word, but I really am thrilled to have his work in this book. He really makes the book.
I don't mean to be like zipping through this for people who are watching. It's more or less just kind of giving you an idea of what the book looks like from inside.
And can people play beyond level 10? Yes. In fact, it's very easy to extrapolate out what level 10 looks like, because 5e and Pathfinder are fixated on an almost fetish level of creating lots and lots of powers, lots of class features. And what I found is by the time you hit like level 12, you don't use half of them.
Right.
And if that's the case, then why design them?
So is there a level cap on this gaming system?
No.
Okay.
Dungeon Dwellers is fully playable at level 20.
And beyond.
We're going to do a couple of huge high hit die dragons at level 20. It'll be a challenge.
Okay. It's playable beyond level 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't run it, but I know for a fact that it's designed to.
Okay. Cool.
And that really comes down to what the Game Master is willing to put in front of the players.
Yeah.
And I expect Game Masters to create their own content. And the Denizens of the Dungeon book is just volume 1. This is just to get us started. This is just our tent stake. We're gonna grow our little city much larger than this.
Yeah.
So, and there will be high level monsters for sure.
And so Chris, don't be afraid to like let Ogre tap your brain once in a while. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Called telemarketer. And just for those that are tuning in, my nickname in college was Ogre. And in fact, there are a number of people that are still in my orbit that still call me Ogre, which is really cute. And so, yeah. But yeah, it's the fact of the matter is that you can add hit dice to a monster, which immediately tells you how to adjust its fighting ability, which immediately tells you how to fix its saving throws. It is also intuitive because it's all built off of a common sense, very simple just this is this. Now it becomes this.
And this is the gaming sheet. And
now, here's the funny thing about this character sheet. I cooked this up on MS Word. And we actually have hired multiple people to get us an awesome old school but new school, fully functional, available to people of different neural divergences. But we had just a terrible time finding. I believe Chris Lewis who's one of our sculptors, just amazingly talented guy on so many levels. He ended up taking this and then just jazzing it up a little bit, but it's still basically my layout, which is really funny to me. I'm like, and it all came from MS Word of all things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't need to fancy things up. Sometimes just a basic level of representation is enough.
Well, it's accessible too. The big thing is that this has been passed around for like the last 3 years, and we have never gotten dinged by the neurodivergent, the people who are colorblind, people who are dyslexic.
Right.
We've never gotten any negative feedback about it.
Okay.
I'm like, well, did we hit the jackpot on the first pull? Like, and by all accounts, we kind of have. I mean, I'm sure there's something we can do to it. I would prefer, look, if you remember the old AD&D character sheets that had like a foot for your movement rate and a field for your armor class. I wish we had more of that on here, but would we lose clarity if we make it look prettier?
Yeah.
Or would you gain character? Or would you gain clarity? So
would we? That's a great question, man. I don't know. So yeah.
Well,
I
see,
don't know.
something
I'm pretty sure we're shipping with some version of this.
Yeah. Well, no. I like this because you've got your armor and shield notes here in this level, but then you've got defense. Yeah. And defense is not just your armor or your shield. It has to do with, who you are too.
It's all the stuff. And that's why we don't use the word armor class.
Right.
We don't use armor because monks aren't wearing armor.
Right. But that doesn't mean they can't defend themselves.
We just use defense. You have a defense rating.
I like that. I like weapon trainings. I like that.
Yeah. And that's one of the few instances where we actually expect you to make a list. But here's the thing: it's a long list. Like fighters, it's all, except for exotic weapons. You know, you may not know how to use a boomerang. Although, if you can justify it in your background, why not?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, it may be a few pages of you needing it and finding it, but it works for me.
I tell you, man, it was hard it was really challenging to get it all to fit on just we had a 2-page version for a while, but there was some stuff that was left off of it. So there was like this uncertainty. So I added it. Now all of a sudden we've got a 3rd page. And so I added your personal coat of arms or a portrait or whatever space. Here's our gear list. I love weapon traits. So there's a lot of weapons in our game that have traits, including like penetrating. Penetrating is cool. Half your armor is just gone. You shoot somebody with a crossbow at short range, your plate mail, which is worth like 10 points of defense, now it's a 5, sucker. Same thing with like a lot of like weapons that have reach because of the officially 1 square equals 5 feet. Unofficially, in Joseph's game, it's anywhere from between 3 and 5 feet. And so, therefore, a lot of longer weapons have reach.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So, quarterstaffs can be used from the 2nd rank to hit the guys 1-2 squares away from you.
Okay.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And also, you get an attack as the monster closes with you because you have a reach weapon. So the monster has a 9 for initiative. You have an 8. As it closes with you, you get a free hit.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, you're just intercepting them. But
of course, that variation on between 3 and 5 feet, that's got to wreak havoc on the typical traditional, square grid. Like when you're trying to.
But the thing is that a grid is just an abstraction, right? It just represents the majority of the situation taken at a within a. Some people see it as a photograph. I see it as like effectively a page in a comic book, where everyone has a separate panel, and then the page comprises the round. This is what's going on right now, and that's kind of how I've always handled the combat round. It's not that fraction of a second; it's that brief period of time of 3 to 5 seconds. And but you can play on inches, you can play on squares, you can play on hexes, whatever works for your group. We even cover that in the player's guide. It's like however you want to. But we are built tactically, so your shield has a facing. It doesn't do you any good if it's behind you.
Right.
Well, I strap it to my back. Well, your enemy doesn't aim for your shield. So facing matters. Now, we haven't been able to put this in the rules yet, but you can burn your reaction to turn to face an enemy if it's not even your turn. But you only get one reaction a turn. If you do that, you don't get any free swings. So the game is very tactical, and strikes from behind, strikes from the flank are meaningful. And a lot of monsters have immunities, resistances to different kinds of weapons. You put an arrow into a zombie, I'm going to laugh at you. They don't have organs. They're just wet, gross, rotten flesh. More than likely, the arrow shoots right through it. No damage.
Gotta have bludgeoning weapons for zombies.
Well, slicing weapons are good too. You hack them to pieces.
Right.
But like skeletons, minimum damage from piercing. Absolute minimum damage for piercing. But a lot of monsters are structured that way. They have immunities and resistances. So you don't have characters trying to like use their most powerful, best attack when it doesn't cause any damage. Like the guys, well, I'm a sword guy. I put everything I possibly could into my sword. Well, you're fighting skeletons. You might want to think about picking up a hammer. Well, I'm not as good at that. I'm like, well, the skeletons don't really care what you think.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times, because I'm a rogue guy, right? I play rogues. And, you have your daggers, whatever you're using, your short sword, starting out, and inevitably every damn time, what's the first monsters you fight? Zombies, skeletons. So you're just like
kobolds if you're lucky,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, your first undead aren't ghouls. I mean, but yeah, but the thing is if you look at our weapons, they're all designed with different ratings and stuff. And they even have an initiative rating, because we roll initiative every round, and it's a die type based upon how fast the weapon is and how it's wielded. So if you're a halfling wielding a great sword, you're going to be rolling a really shitty initiative.
Right. Okay.
And you're going to have to use 2 hands to do it. But then again, if you have a halfling wielding, say, a longsword, we don't even call them long, we call them broadswords, because there's no such thing as a longsword. Not historically. There were arming swords and everything else, but they were called other things. So anyways, a halfling is going to wield it 2-handed as if it was a great sword, or it'll have a crappy initiative. It'll probably be a D6.
You're not going to be Ileana Rasputin running around with the sword that's like.
Well, in anime, because I've had people ask me, well, can I have a guy who has a giant sword? And I'm like, no. Yeah. Well, why not? Well, because they make no sense. Well, that's what's so funny about it. I'm like, I don't think it's funny. That's a different game. And that isn't wrong. You're not playing the game wrong. It's just I'm presenting you with Dungeon Dwellers as we see it. And that's all it is. It's just my bias. This is 100% my bias. If you want to play anime RPGs where you have a giant sword, do it. I own those games. They're over there. I love those games. But it's not Dungeon Dwellers.
Right.
And you have to do, that's part of what you have to do as a game master, is you have to decide what hills to die on. And you are
is Toon.
Toon. It's right there. I own Toon Deluxe. I love Toon.
I know. I said, you want to play anime? Let's play Toon.
But I
So-
own a number of anime RPGs, and all of that is totally cool, but it's not this.
Right.
So where do you develop your cache of artists from? I'm just curious.
That's a great question for our lead, our developer. Ron has cultivated relationships throughout the industry, and he's very art focused. He was our art director for the longest time, and he clearly still is. He's the creative director now, and so he has a razor sharp mind when it comes to evaluating art. And he's very picky for the miniatures. He's picky for the art that is turned into miniatures, and so he's made friends throughout the industry. So he can send out emails and get great artists to really step up and produce great stuff for us.
Oh yeah. I mean, the list you got is awesome, and I know Ron by reputation, but I don't think we've actually communicated. But I know like it would be very easy for him to just like rotate completely different art teams for like the next volume if he wanted to. He could.
He might. I don't know. I have no clue. But here's how Reaper's always worked. We're so transparent that if you go to Reaper's webpage, reaperme.com, ka-chow, whatever, and if you go there, you go to About, and it has all of the people in the company basically, and it gives their emails. So if you want, it says send your portfolio to, and so. Always on the lookout for fresh talent. That's how we got Christine Van Patten. Is that she was this very talented person, and then she just kind of moved into a much more professional role and has done amazing things. And now she has her own miniature company, and they've produced their own 5e stuff.
Yep.
So it's cool to see someone grow like that.
I know that you make your own 3D stuff yourself.
Well, I print it. I want to learn Blender over this winter. I'm planning on learning Blender this winter, so I can do a lot of my own
I remember
stuff.
back.
You're going to learn Blender over the winter?
Yeah. Dude, I learned campaign cartographer. I make my own maps, so anything is possible at this point.
I have a degree in computer animation, man, and I'm just like, about over a winter, but unless you're
well, that's the thing, right? Is that it's a matter of I'm going to learn it. I won't master it. I wouldn't say that, but I will definitely learn it. The availability of information nowadays to enrich yourself is enormous. I mean, there's thousands of hours of tutorials.
Yes.
And that is something that is unheard of.
Right.
In pre-industrial society. Free information, to use a free tool to enhance my creativity. Holy crap. Wow.
Yeah.
And I can go online and ask questions of a massive number of people and get answers instantly.
Yeah. You have the equivalent of a college master's degree available free online.
Yeah.
Yep. I can do classes at Harvard.
Yeah. Well, I remember though back in the day when we were working on making figures out of Sculpey and stuff.
Well, there is that, right? I used to paint a lot more. Full disclosure, I am nothing but a knowledgeable novice at this point. But yeah, miniature again, availability of information.
I sculpt a little myself. I'm working on something.
So. Well, there you go, man. That's cool. The most recent sculpt, I do a lot of tweaking, and one of the things I built recently was what I refer to as the pallid carcass. And it was a Victor Frankenstein inspired effort by the evil wizard in the scenario to manufacture lackeys and monsters to fill his dungeons. And so what he did was he took an auroch, which is an ice age ox, huge. They were as tall as I am. I'm 6 feet tall, 6 feet at the shoulder, and
massive.
The head was a noisy, so he took that off. He was a necromancer and alchemist. And he also got rid of the legs because it was clomping. It was annoying him. So there's just this. I could bring it out if you guys want to see it, but it's this.
Oh God! Of course I do.
It's this 3D printed torso of a giant cow, hung by Clive Barker meat hooks by posts. And at a critical moment in the scenario, it gives birth to this John Carpenter's The Thing meets Minotaur.
Oh, that is
and
so freaking cool.
It was awful. It was the scenario I ran at ReaperCon, and it was the first time I ever gave a trigger warning and a safe word to the players. And because I was concerned that it would upset people, because there was a lot of things that happened in that scenario that are very upsetting, deliberately so. And so being very aware of where everyone else's mental state is, I wanted to make sure that everyone was cool with it. So in that critical moment of that scenario, the players go up in this big elevator after dealing with all these backdoor monsters guarding this lair, and they're following up on these alchemical discharges that are mutating the local wildlife downriver, right? And they go up into this magician's lair, and it's just Victor Frankenstein, horrible apparatus, body parts in jars that are, some of them are animated, and all kinds of grotesquely insane Grey's Anatomy drawings, and just awful. And then they hear this shudder from the next room, from like 3,000 pounds of ground beef shivering, hanging from these bloody meat hooks. And do you guys want me to get it? Because I will.
God, I so want you to get it.
Okay. One moment, please. And remember, the safe word is kumquat.
Oh my.
So, yeah, I had to go to my 3D print lab. I bought the cow actually for like $5 from a sculptor, and had to carve the head off, and then I had to sculpt like a fleshy cap over the stumps, and the hooks were made out of metal wire that I shaped and bent and then hung from actual chains. It's currently disassembled for transport because I had to travel with it. I can't imagine what it looked like to the TSA. I'm sure it was on there. Apparently I got through. They didn't actually pull it. So and then this is just a rudimentary paint job. I didn't have a ton of time before the convention, but this is kind of what we're talking about here. And it was awful. It was just hideous. With all kinds of, and these are all sculpted wounds, stretching the flesh out, and then it does fully suspend from the hooks. And there were these 4 little posts on a custom base. I can actually show you the custom base. I 3D printed the base and then used putty to fill it. And there's poster booger on it, so you'll have to just ignore that. But here's the base that it all sat on. This is just poster boogers just to keep the legs in place. But yeah, the 4 posts sit at each of the corners, right. And then real chains actually hold it upright, and so it literally hangs from the posts in front of the players. So
that's
at
cool.
That critical, as they moved into that adjacent space, they heard this mew from behind them, and the cow's head is mounted on the wall, and it's just. And then one of the players was like, "Guys," and he's like shivering, pointing into the adjacent space. And then I put the miniature down, and one of the guys paid me one of the nicest compliments I'd ever gotten. One of my longtime players goes, "What the fuck?" Hilarious. Yeah. But no, it looks so much creepier because it's actually got green tones worked into it, so the flesh looks really unhealthy. And if you look carefully, there's actually sutures. Actually sutures that are there's actual sutures on the head.
That's cool. Yeah.
Pretty
my dungeon master, my DM, asked me one time, he's like, dude, I need a human roasting on a spit. Can you sculpt that for me? Yeah, sure, no problem.
No
Yeah, I can do
problem.
that. Yeah.
Well, it's just it's hate the game, not the player. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know. But yeah, this actually traveled with me to ReaperCon, and I was, man, if they see this and they pull it out, there's going to be a really interesting conversation with that TSA agent. It's going to be really,
What the
yeah.
heck is that supposed to be, sir?
Well, it's a monster for a horror game, and the players are going after the bad guy who made this horrible thing, and goodness will triumph.
Hey, my first professional comic coloring gig was coloring a page where a witch doctor had ripped a fetus out of a woman and then proceeded to rip the fetus in half.
Art, right?
It's art, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of the exception to the rule. I don't normally make things this graphic, but this year at ReaperCon, I really wanted to make an impression in it, and boy, did it ever. That scenario was talked about. And just to be clear, nobody gave the safe word. Everyone was cool. Everyone was totally awesome. We had a lot of fun. There were a lot of hugs afterwards, and oh my God, that was horrible. But it was really well received, and I'm very pleased. And I've run some pretty gritty stuff. I created a race of zombies that are these bloated, drowned guys called the Sons of Barty, and it's for a pirate fantasies. It's part of all this stuff, and they actually are infested with hagfish, and they actually reach into their guts and pull out. These guys are huge, by the way. They actually pull out the hagfish and throw them like spears.
I love it. Oh, that's fantastic.
Chop.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, Sons of Barty are awesome.
Yep. So, okay. How long do you think you've got till you're ready to go to full print?
Okay. So unofficially, we have not made any announcements. However, or officially, we haven't made any announcements. Unofficially, I think the timing would be great if we got everything wrapped up before the end of the year.
Okay.
So I would, I've got another little bit of work to do on my current project. I've got another day or two. And then the Caverns of Doom, which is not part of this initial fulfillment, is my next thing. And if there's no rewrites requests from the powers that be, and I don't think there will be, I would suspect the small green button will get hit. We will get the proofs back from China. And assuming there's no absurdities, which are possible, unfortunately, then realistically, I suspect that it would be wonderful if these were under Christmas trees.
Okay.
I think
Absolutely.
that would be wonderful.
So the best thing to do is get your orders in by maybe mid-October at the very latest.
I would say as soon as possible.
Yeah,
that way you are certain to get your copy.
Yeah.
And you get the PDFs. And you get your say. I watch our Discord server like a hawk. I watch our forum like we have our own Dungeon Dwellers channels. We have our own Dungeon Dwellers portions of the forum. And if you've got feedback, I take it. Okay. And I listen. I read every piece of feedback. I read every single typo, and we respond to all of it. And we really appreciate it because it's just, I call it the Just Us League. It's just me and my boss and a handful of writers. And so we are so deeply grateful to the fans and the supporters. We are a year over. We are. And that's the reality. It sucks. I wish we were more on track, but if it was unavoidable, we wouldn't be here. And but the fact of the matter is books are out. I mean, the PDFs are out there. People have had them as soon as we could possibly get them into people's hands. People actually had them, versions of them. They were circulating as soon as the Kickstarter was running. People started getting them, and we were immediately responding to feedback. And it's either we are completely off base or we are on track. I don't know which. but because we haven't gotten volumes of worried feedback. We got some feedback about our very loose skill system from a couple of people, but once we added certain things to the player's guide, poof, gone. People embraced it. And then same thing with initiative. Well, I don't want to roll it around. Okay. We want to stick to the D20. Okay. I'm not going to fight.
Then don't. Yeah.
Then no. I'm like, cool. I make it very clear why I did what I did, and if you don't like it, then change it. I support your decision.
Our dungeon master has a very intricate clothespin based initiative system.
Yes.
And I own role playing games that are players go.
Yep.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that game with that mechanism. There's nothing. Flip a coin. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Round robin. Doesn't matter. It ultimately comes down to who do you think should go to first? Under the circumstances, who should go first? And the random is just there to fill in the lack of clarity.
Right.
And it just provides structure. That's all it does. A game doesn't need like a super rigid system like Shadowrun's, phases and passes and everything else that goes into their initiative system to work. And Dungeon Dwellers, I think, is probably one of the more manageable versions of the D20 initiative system that provides meaningful options. Like, there's a number of D20 versions that are just like so abstract that your decisions of weapon and tactics are meaningless. You know, do I get advantage? Cool. Okay, you're done. Roll the dice. And that's fine. That's cool. But we have toys. The miniatures have to be important because we're a toy company.
Yep.
And so we're big fans of the toys. You know, I like the toys.
I'm a big fan of the toys. Painting them, not so
love
much.
The toys. There are so many good tutorials out there, dude.
Chris.
Yeah.
No, look, I tried painting miniatures. I'm like, I'm a professional artist. I went to art school. I got all the equipment. I'm like, this should be no problem. 15 minutes in, I'm like, nope, flip. Our DM, that's your job, man. You do this.
See, you talked yourself. You psyched yourself out.
I couldn't do it, man. Because I expected it to be so great out the gate.
Well, see, you psyched yourself out, man. Here's the thing about painting miniatures. Keep your paint thin, layers. In to out, dark to light. If you can keep those handful of things in mind, you'll be great. You know, don't mess with a wet palette. Don't worry about wearing an optivisor. You know, keep your expectations at a reasonable level and finish the frickin' miniature. And then grab the next one and paint that one. And you will suck at it. You will waste paint. But every step will be a step forward and up.
It's just like computer coloring.
It's just like everything else, right? You know?
Yeah.
So I teach paint clinics, paint takes, where we go to a game store and there's a bunch of paint and there's a bunch of miniatures and we just sit down and paint. And that's what I teach people. And that way there's no, if you want to see some more advanced techniques, I'll show you. And my boss paid me a nice compliment one day and said, you know what, you're a solid painter. And I'm hanging out with like the finest painters in the world. And I am nothing. Like, I'm not even a burp of a reflection of an echo of a shadow of their talent. But he said I was a solid painter and I'm going to take it. You know, and that's like anything else, man. Same thing with game mastering. Some people come into it with really weird expectations. I'm going to be Matt Mercer. Well, Matt's really good at his craft, and he has all. And
gaming is hard.
It is, man. Game mastering is hard.
Yeah,
but it's so darn rewarding. It's so cool.
Yeah, I think because I was able to have that disconnect after I left college, because when I moved out to Nevada, nobody wanted to play tabletop. They all wanted to play freaking Magic the Gathering and Rage and stuff. And I was like, you want to play this overpriced, overcomplicated version of War? Here's a regular deck of cards.
Now, here's the thing about collectible card games, though. So they invested a ton of money and interest into a hobby that's adjacent to ours.
Sure.
And so it's kind of sort of like the Bernoulli's principle, like the wind blows, but it pulls a bunch of shit with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I really appreciate what Magic the Gathering has done. On the other hand, I dislike game stores that only carry Magic and D&D.
Right. Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's the whole thing of, I don't know. It was like they created a mentality.
There's elitism.
Well, it's competitive, which is different than D&D, tabletop gaming, right? It's competitive. Yeah. And there was a lot of pay to win initially before they structured things, where tournaments were basically whoever had the better deck, but that evolved. That radically evolved. But it brought a lot of legitimacy. I mean, Mensa ranked Magic the Gathering higher than chess in terms of complexity. And so, not that I'm a big fan of Mensa, but whatever. But the thing is that's cool to see. And there's this old expression of, a rising tide raises all boats. And it's kind of true. It's kind of true. But too much focus on anything is bad. Like stores that only carry Pokemon. I'm like, well, that's not great. It's, trying to convince them to host something other than Pokemon is challenging sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But most stores at this point have learned that you can't do that anymore.
Yep.
You used to be able to do that. Used to be a Pokemon store. That's fine. But not anymore. You can't be a single brand store anymore. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with comics. I mean, they're still stubborn. We're only going to sell Marvel and DC. We're not really going to focus on anything else. And it's like, well, gee, why are you struggling? Why are you screaming at us?
You can't. And Rose and I've talked a lot over the last 20 years about me having my own game store. I'm like, well, that's a great idea. It's like being a heroin addict and being a heroin dealer at the same time. There's going to be problems.
Right. Yeah.
But we've talked about it because I worked for a number of hobby shops. Ryder's Hobby Shop was my stomping ground. I worked at two of them. And I worked at one of them and was there when it crashed, and got closed. And I left the other one and it closed maybe, years later. And there's a reason why. It's because it's very hard to have what somebody wants.
Yes.
It's really hard to look into the crystal ball and make that judgment. And so DC and Marvel are good investments in terms of they're a good bet, I guess is the best way to say it. They're a good bet. But there's no guarantee that particular Marvel book will do well.
Right.
Or it changes artists, and now it does great. Well, this one now sucks.
Yes.
So it's all a dice game.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. When you're doing retail, you kind of have to learn how to not only be able to, so to speak, read the tea leaves, but you have to know how to market everything you carry to a certain level of gains margin. And if you're not willing to do the work to make it get there, then you can't blame the creators or the producer of the product, because you have a responsibility on your end to get there as well.
In this situation, it's just like writing and any other creative medium.
Yep.
The fans are never wrong. The audience is never wrong.
Right.
You can be, because you pitched it wrong. You gave them what they didn't want.
Right.
So it's a very unpopular perception, but it's true. I don't like onions. You put onions on my food, you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have to know that I don't like onions and find a way around it. Like
Right.
take that salsa, homogenize it. We're good.
Yeah.
You know, cook the onions down to they're nothing. We're good. You put a bunch of raw ones on my hamburger, waitress.
Yep.
You know,
right.
So
Same
I
here.
there's still the thing that people get into retail have a problem with is that you have to be really heavily capitalized. You have to have a lot of pile of money, you know. And same thing with video. Same thing with any kind of creative endeavor. You have to have the nest egg for when things are lean, right? Then you have to have knowledge, which is what you were talking about. You have to have your hand on the pulse all the time. Someone comes in, wants to talk about Batman, you better have a Batman expert on hand, or you better be, and then keep ahead of the trends. Oh, they're going to a new artist. That new artist makes guys with chests out to here. You know, they made fun of that in the Deadpool shit. Right?
Quackville.
Yeah. His name was above the marquee actually on one of the on that last fight. He was actually on a marquee.
Yeah.
But some people love that.
You
know, I'm not one of them. I thought it looked weird.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing is that you have to know that that's coming out, and there's probably going to be a drop in sales on that particular book. Plan accordingly. But where'd the other artists go? If you jump from that to over here, let's get that in. So yeah, I'm no expert on any of this shit, but I've been around it long enough to go. There's a lot of stuff to consider. Like there's no easy comic book store option. Or game store for that matter. There's no easy choice. You know, it's like, nah, I'm good. I'll just sit in my little basement surrounded by aquariums, and I'll write about dragons and dwarves all day. It's easier.
Rob Liefeld is an anomaly in our industry, and I don't know if there's a gaming equivalent, but Rob Liefeld is popular because he gives hope to crappy artists that they can still make a career and get rich.
Okay, so I will say yes, there are.
Well, you got to remember, nobody knew who he was until he took that 501 Levi's jeans commercial. So that was the zeitgeist for him.
There are creatives in tabletop that I think would fall within that. I won't mention them by name because my industry is about this big.
Right.
And everybody knows everybody else. So I try not to talk too much shit. I try really hard. I'm a shit talker. I try really hard to remain relatively positive about most things. You know, it's like, you know, I don't like something, but you know what? I can see value in it. I think it pushes things in new directions. For example, and I'll promote somebody else's shit because I think it's worthwhile. Mazes. There's this wonderful line of games from Ninth Circle Games, I think is what they're called, or Ninth Level Games, and they make this game product series called Polymorph. And there's a number of games with it. There's a pirate game. There's a D&D fantasy game. There's a sci-fi Star Wars game called Rebel Scum that's quite good. And then they also took The Dark Tower. Remember that old Milton Bradley game? And they made a role-playing game off of it.
Okay.
And it is freaking weird. The Polymorph game system is freaking weird. It did something very strange. And it's like, you know, you struggle with it. And you read it a couple times and you struggle with it some more because what's happening is your expectations are aggressively defending the parts of your brain that say this is how things are supposed to work. And this is coming in like a dentist drill. It's a really rusty one, right? And there's like chunks of other people's brains still stuck to it. So, but the thing is that there's genius there. It does something that other games don't, and it cuts through the shit, and that can otherwise clutter the gaming experience. It requires you to go out on a limb. It requires you to forget and ignore what you know. It requires you to learn how to be a game master again, how to be a player again. That's valuable. that is whether I love it or hate it. And to be honest with you, I'm still a little on the fence. But there's beauty there. There really is beauty there, and it's definitely worth checking out. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole because that turns into a whole freaking review. But people, seriously, if you want a new gaming experience, like we've played D&D to death, we played Pathfinder to death, Call of Cthulhu. Oh, we need a break. Reach for mazes, and it's really neat. And it's a modest investment. It's a small digest size book. It's like this thick. The pages are pretty thick. It's not challenging in terms of its presentation. It's just mechanically a sharp blow to the brain. It will rewrite parts of your brain in a good way. And you may come away with it going, I'm never frickin' playing this. But what a neat way to handle things. And it might do something and maybe inspire you to take new directions with your own gaming. I think it's really worthwhile. It's a great game.
Okay.
And that,
or if you're like, yeah, I played D&D to death. I played this. Try Dungeon Dwellers.
Yeah. Bringing it back around. But yeah. But what do we offer? Somebody asked me about this recently. Okay, so here's the deal. A very tactical take on tabletop gaming. If you liked D&D 3X's tactics without some of the headaches, Dungeon Dwellers. Spell points instead of spell levels. Any spell can be scaled. A lot of the spells have been combined. Why should you prepare 4 healing spells when you only have to prepare 1 and then just scale it up by spending more spell points?
Mm-hmm.
A 3rd level spell costs 3 spell points. A 4th level spell costs
4.
Ta-da! You guys know the system. It's intuitive. It makes sense. Well, you're familiar with D&D. Well, then you know 85% of this. Learning the remaining 15% will not hurt you.
Right.
And infinite customizability and expandability. If you fell in love with warlocks, port them in. It should be a pretty simple task to figure out how to kind of move them into the game. You can do that. However, if you want to wait for the official warlock, you may be waiting a while.
Yeah.
We have a lot of other classes that are higher priority.
What if I want to be an artificer?
Well, it might hurt somebody's feelings, and it's not my intention to hurt your feelings. I'm not saying warlocks suck. I'm just saying that people want
only so many hours a day.
Well, I do have strong opinions about them, but the fact of the matter is people like to play them.
Yeah.
But mechanically, balancing warlocks' playability in 5e is more challenging than people think. That's why they massively rewrote them in 2024.
Yeah.
Right.
I can only speak for what they were in 5e. I don't own 2024. If somebody was to donate a copy to me, feel free to take it. Feel free to send me one. I'll happily put it on the shelf. But I'm not giving Wizards of the Coast any more money.
Yeah.
We're done. But and that's probably one of the most negative things I'll actually say is sorry. It's the way it is. But the thing is that if you love them, then play them. If you love tieflings, put them in your game. I give you the building blocks to put that stuff in place. And you're literally going to look at it and go, hey, Game Master, is this reasonable? Or the Game Master will pull it together and go, hey, anyone want to play this? Try it out. Budget. Dungeon Dwellers is a game for tinkers, and there's no rule beyond the one that you want to play with. Make the game yours. It's yours. I'm not your gatekeeper. That's my final word on it.
Okay. We got one thing more that that you wanted to share with us, Joseph, and that is a Kickstarter you showed me earlier.
Oh, we're actually going to put this one on me. Okay. Well, I'm not afraid to talk. Okay, guys, so this is Raptor Ruckus. Now, I have nothing to do with these people, not because I don't want to, it's just that I don't. This is a Jurassic Park role-playing game. Dinosaurs. Have fun. I'll sit quietly while we do it.
quite a bit.
Is it just me, or did it sound like the growls were burps?
They did, but that's a very well put together video, and obviously, apparently, a lot of people thought that this was a damn good idea.
Yeah.
And Morkborg or Morkborg, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not Swedish. I'm not even pretending. But it's very popular right now. Pirate Borg, Cyborg, all of the little things that have spun off from it are really cool. And the appeal is in my opinion, the look. But the idea that the growls were actually burps is also appropriate if you think about it.
Yes. Now your physical gameplay is $130, but you're getting the hardcover campaign book, a 4-pack set of set piece scenarios, an exclusive magazine, GM screen, character sheet pad, character folios, all this stuff in PDF. Again, a la carte. You can get your core book in PDF. Retailers get a physical print book. Of course, that's for retailers only. I guess you can get all these action figures and stuff with it too.
Are they prints or are they STLs that you're expected to print yourself? That's one thing that I haven't done a deep dive on this. I just saw it. It's been kind of floating around, and I've been kind of. I don't own more.
You can buy STLs.
Yeah, you have to have a printer for that, but I just bought a 14K M7 Pro, so.
It says 11-inch long, resin printed by.
Okay, so it is printed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they look cool as heck, man.
Yeah, so Critical Crafting is the one that's doing the resin printed versions here. And so, yeah, I mean, if you're getting all that stuff in a package, that's certainly worth the money.
Now, one of the things they're doing is they're providing a quick play document, which is a adventure,
right,
kind of a guided role-playing teaser for it. That's good. That's a good idea. That's genius. We had a quick start guide for Dungeon Dwellers, but theirs looks a little slicker than ours.
Yeah. Can we go back up to that initial goal that they wanted? Like, who in the flippity flop and flip is going to produce a gaming system for $5,000? Like they were like, God, I hope this does good.
Well, I can actually answer that.
Yeah, do that for us.
Because we did that with Reaper. We did that with Dungeon Dwellers. I think it was only a few $1,000s. Here's what happens. If you go $30,000 and you don't hit $30,000 in the first couple hours, people go, oh, it's never going to hit its goal, and they walk away. So it's a Twinkie price. It's like when you buy something at a game store, or this is more of a hobby shop thing. You wouldn't sell something for $10. You sell it for $9.75 or $9.99. It's not $10, but it's $9.99. So my boss at Reaper or at Riders would call that Twinkie pricing. So that's why they do that. So it's a very easily attained goal. That's the absolute minimum for them to meet some requirement, but it's obviously not the end goal. And obviously not. They're doing pretty well, and they've only got 35 hours to go. So they did pretty well. They
did, but what I'm saying is, man, if that thing did like 5,001, like they'd be stuck producing this for $5,000, which is gonna be like, okay, how the hell do we do this?
And that's what. But the thing is that you're still gonna have to pay shipping and stuff. There's ways to make it work, but you just pointed out one of the real flaws with Kickstarters is if they are not properly, and the organization that goes into these is beyond me.
Not beyond Rose, but Rose could figure it out.
Oh no, Rose could do this. Like she could probably do it like while she's waking up in the morning, before she even had her coffee. But absolutely, it's a whole thing, man, and it's you can bankrupt yourself. And the number of Kickstarters have done just that. A lot of the tech Kickstarters are really risky.
Yeah.
But this looks perfectly attainable, and the figures look really cool. There's a side thing that if I can just talk one more second here,
sure.
60 seconds. There's an open call for designers for this. Morkborg as a game is open. Anyone can write for it pretty much.
Okay.
But they extended that to also this. So what happens is that anyone with an interest to develop a and they linked it on Facebook, but you can basically submit a pitch, and you can get a nice reward for your efforts to help create a zine containing your little 2-page adventure. But you're fully in charge of all aspects of it. You have to design it. You have to lay it out. You have to edit it. You have to do all the professional work on it because it's going to be evaluated on that merit.
Right.
Does it look professional? And for me, I don't even bother with it because I produce text.
Right.
I don't do layout. You know, we have other people.
Now you were telling me that you thought the colors were a little bit.
You know, I wasn't going to say shit, but it's done in the Morkborg style. This is their style, and I get it. It certainly catches the eye. It's just
are you talking about the miniatures or the art?
The art,
the actual art, like on the Game Master's screen.
Okay, I was going to say because the miniatures are a little
black light painting. It looks like a black light painting in a.
It's a little garish, and then the miniatures are a little.
I did use that word, yeah.
A little, I love you, you love me.
You can look at the Quick Start guide. The Quick Start guide is very busy, in my opinion. But this isn't a criticism. This is just their style, and it's not wrong.
They still look cool.
It still looks cool. Oh, I am not going to dispute that. I just wish there were more dinosaurs. I would like to see a whole range of figures available.
Oh, yeah. I can fully imagine people coming up with their own designs and creating their own STL files.
There are so many dinosaurs STLs on my mini factory. You won't be for want of dinosaurs. If the dinosaur exists, somebody has already sculpted it
and come up with stats for it.
System-wise, it's Morkborg, which means you can pick it up in about 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, you can kind of see they're hoping for like another. They're hoping for 110K, but they fell a little bit short of that. But they'll probably get to the 85 level.
Where are they at now?
I think they're at 83.
They're 85, aren't they?
They just got 85. So
it would be. Here's what the last 10 to 16 hours is absolutely vital for a Kickstarter. So, it'll be interesting to see where this lands. I mean, it could push over 100K.
With a lot of Kickstarters, you're either going to make your money at the very beginning and the very end. That's
because they're coming out of the doldrums right now.
Yeah.
But I wish them all the best luck. I wish them all the best because it looks good. And dinosaurs. Yeah. I'm there, brother. I am there.
I just love to see success stories. So.
Me too. Yeah. I do too. And like I said, I haven't bought into Morkborg or any of those games because I'm not it's like a lot of games. I'm not necessarily the target audience for every role playing game. A lot of them I am.
Yeah.
My interests are like I literally have a metric ton of role playing books. Cross country twice. We know how much it weighs.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of different kinds of games. I've got some really
my goodness, back in college.
Milk crates, man.
You had 47 milk crates of gaming books in 1993.
It was close to that. When we
probably still
cross country. We had 47 heavy banker boxes, the reinforced ones.
Yeah.
You probably still have like the original like Marvel role playing game books.
He probably does, but I thought he's the Champions guy though.
One moment, please. I recently reorganized.
Okay.
But it is here. There is this is the updated Marvel box set.
Champions, right? Was it Marvel Champions?
No. Champions is a whole different, it's its own thing. But yeah, it is here somewhere on the show.
TSR played did Marvel, Mayfair Games did DC, and Champions was by a completely different company. And as I recall,
Hero Games.
Yeah, Hero Games.
I have an extensive Champions and Hero 6th edition over there. I don't have a lot of the hero or the I don't have a lot of the Marvel superhero stuff, unfortunately, anymore. I had some of it, but I do have. I acquired for $5 at a flea market the updated version of the Marvel superheroes game, which is wonderful. Phaser Rip is a great game, but what's cool about that one is that they incorporated all of the power levels after Class 1000. Because originally it was they went up to Class 1000, and then it was like Class 1000, 3000, 5000, and I think it goes to beyond at that point, where you only fail in 1 in 100.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm intimately familiar with Phaser Rip, and there's actually 2 retro clones off of Phaser Rip that are very good.
Yeah.
I like Phaser Rip. I think it's a great game. I don't think it's great for random character creation, but then again, I hate random character creation. That's why I'm a Champions Hero guy. And DC Heroes too. I like DC Heroes. I helped write. I actually helped write both games, Blood of Heroes. Which
yes,
took
you and I used to argue about that back in the day because you thought I was just being a Marvel dork.
Well, I mean, they both give very different experiences. I like DC Heroes because it was possible for characters of varying of widely gapped power levels to still function together. Batman can he can beat up Green Lantern on a good day.
It scales very well, yeah.
It scales really well. Whereas Champions and GURP Supers don't. They do not scale well at all. But, it's just the way they are. I like them all, though. I also like icons. If I was to run a superheroes game for you guys, and I'd be happy to do so, because I do have a bunch of solo projects that I have cooked up, including one that I think is a very exciting superhero setting. And it uses the Icons role-playing game, which is...
I've never played that one, so...
You would love it. It's super simple. It does what it's supposed to do. It's a great... it's called Icons Unlimited. It's a small little digest size book. It's a very indie game, but it's massively well supported by Steve Kenson of Green Ronin. He's one of their very talented mutants and masterminds designers.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Design work. But yeah, it's a great, like, low impact supers role playing game.
Okay.
You won't need a calculator, unlike Champions and GURP Supers.
Right. Okay, yeah. So there was Ogre's selection for the week.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you bring me to the table, man. I'm going to run my mouth.
Oh, but we still have to get through our rest of our crazy.
Yeah, good luck with that. I don't think I'm getting my donuts and cider tonight. Your fault for being so engaging.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You get two gaming nerds together at a table, yeah.
Well, guys, it's an absolute pleasure. But on that note, I'm looking at the time here. It's 10:27. I think that I can still get over to Meyer to get myself some cider and some donuts for tomorrow morning.
Awesome.
At the very least, I have to tuck Rose into bed. So I'm going to say my goodbyes for the night.
Okay, Joe.
It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, man.
Guys, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. One of my more, I've done a few of these, and this was really fun. Letting me nerd out was very, very enjoyable. I appreciate that. I'm in good company. I really appreciate your guys' hospitality.
Oh, you're always welcome. Anytime you want to talk gaming, you want to talk. We do Friday night movie talk. If you want to talk about old movies, just to give yourself some headspace.
I'll even make you an offer at some point. We can do it. We can actually do a live 2-on-1 Game Master Dungeon Dwellers at some point.
Okay.
I would be down for that.
Yep. Yeah. Let me know. I'll happily work with you guys to make that happen.
Okay.
All right. That's not
awesome. Well,
he's just geeking out.
And let the deaths fall. Yeah. As Daphma reaches for your soul.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Take care, you guys. Be safe out there.
Okay. All right, we got. I thought maybe he would be interested in this one thing, but that's okay. We got quite a bit of comic book stuff to get through, so let's hurry up and get through it because we're already over almost 2.5 hours.
We are, and I have a meeting.
That's your fault, dude. You're the one that had to keep going.
I know, it's completely my fault.
Clara, the Vengeance of the Witch graphic novel. It's a witch destroys anyone who stands in her way. Ex-warrior Clara must battle impossible odds to rescue her stolen family. It's got 34 hours to go. It's well past its goal. 185 backers. Let's see the video set. Blue Fox Comics.
I'm telling you, I'm loving the art already.
Okay. Let's see. Simon Burks is the creator or writer. Let's see who else is doing work on this. It's a 120-page full-color graphic novel. You can back 4 physical books for this campaign, which is this book, Hobbs Lane, which Where No One Goes, and House Proud. So this is just over 45 pounds, or okay. There's some of the artwork for the interiors. What are you thinking?
I'm liking the artwork. I'm really liking it. Yeah, liking the color schemes.
Okay. I was thinking, this is perfect for the type of thing we were just talking about. Dungeon Dwellers is just more of a,
It's very Celtic. Yeah, I mean, it's Celtic.
Yeah. But,
mythology.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different physical ones you can get that they've got in print that you can go and look up and add on. Things that they did for Image Comics and Top Cow. I don't know if you guys remember these books, Antarctica. The 2 different volumes 1 and 2. Just a whole bunch of stuff. Sparks, I've read. That's about the only one I have is Sparks one, but that was another reason why I picked this up. I was like, I know who this is. But lots of stuff to pick from. Of course, why Kickstarter? Because a lot of the comic shops just aren't carrying this kind of stuff, and it's the only way you can get your stuff out there anymore.
Right.
$21 for a 120-page graphic novel is reasonable. Signed is about $26. You can get your physical and PDF signed. And then all the other stuff, the other books is like what you would like do add-ons once you do stuff. But as you can see, there's you can get the Antarcticas and other things from Simon.
Right.
He's done, Robin, Gone, Hexes, Sinners, The Girl in the Midnight Gown, Shadow over Innsmouth. All these have been using Kickstarter, so they've been around. And you can pick a whole bunch of stuff. So Rob Jones is in there as well. He's worked for all the companies he's listed there: Image and Metal, Humanoid, Scout, Behemoth, Wave Blue World, etc. So he's good stuff there. So you're going to get a quality piece, I think, overall. They're saying money's collected next month, and then book received, and then rewards sent in February or March. Sounds like a reasonable plan.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, keep in mind with Kickstarters, especially thanks to our government, who knows what kind of delays are going to happen with the tariffs and the other things going on.
Right. Exactly.
So just be aware of that. But yeah, I'm thinking that's a possibility. That's like a 75% possibility. Alrighty, let's go on to our next one. Rift's Castle, a Boatman's Call graphic novel. This is a 152-page graphic novel for fans of Hellboy, BPRD, Hellblazers, and sea shanties. Very McNolan.
Mm-hmm. Very. I like it though. It's very clean.
Jones again, please. I'm gonna pause it for just a second. Here's the tail, and it's like the giant. The mountains take a shape of a fish,
Oh yeah, yeah they do.
and then you can kind of see again another fish shape over here, and another fish shape. It's interesting, how all it's infrastructure, but it all can be broken down into those shapes.
Right.
So-
And is it on purpose or is it just us seeing fish or it's a good question.
So I thought that, I immediately grabbed onto that. So and that's all it is, that one. Okay. Let's see here. How much do they want? $10 for the digital and $21 for the print, which makes sense again. And you get a bundle. You can get a graphic novel and some cover prints and some other cool stuff. That's for like $34. The hardback is like $41. Okay. Deluxe bundle, you get the hardcover digital PDF cover set and a Rory Donald commission for $115. That's a good price.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any more available. Oh, there's only one left of 10. You better hurry up and get that. But yeah, I mean, it looks like fun. And you can see that, they're showing you how it's going to print in the hardcover. It looks like a really good book in the format. So I'm liking, certainly worth the money. There you go. There's more artwork there. I like how the guy's face covered with the ropes.
Yeah, the art is very clean, very distinctive. I'm digging it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just kind of like, this is a really nice image.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Sharon's boat out of the bones and skeletons of different creatures. Yeah, I think that this is pretty interesting. I'm thinking like an 80% chance I might get this. How about you?
Oh, this is definitely something I would back. Absolutely.
Okay. Alrighty, let's go on to our next one. And that is Macabre Valley by Zach Quaintance. This is your kind of thing. Grindhouse horror comic. 21 days to go. Werewolves. Got 229 backers. It's past its goal, obviously. So this is definitely going to get cleared. They don't have a video, unfortunately. But this is a young reporter gets a job covering the night cop beat at a newspaper in South Texas. When a border patrol agent is gruesomely murdered, our hero must untangle the violent mystery with a beloved local priest and a werewolf at its dark center. 30-page horror comic written by Zach Quaintance. Artist Anna Redmond from 2080 and Peach Fuzz was colorist Brad Simpson, which we know Brad's work. Lettering by Becca Carey, we know her work. Designer, I know who Jared Fletcher is, but yeah. But this is the main cover.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like it has this kind of John Constantine meets Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
So there's that going on. And this is based on the writer's real experiences as a night cop reporter in McAllen, Texas. But of course, he's adding, fictional stuff as well. So.
Right.
But this should be cool. The first issue is already done. There's going to be 4 issues, and they're hoping that this will get raised to fund this book, and if there's additional money helping to fundraise issue number 2. They want to get the book by Halloween, which I don't see how they're going to get it back that fast turnaround, even with the book being done. How many hours does this thing have left to go? 20. It has 21 days to go. Well, that's almost like halfway into October.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're not. You might get it to the printer by Halloween, but you're not going to get it in the hands of the customers by then. So.
Oh, except for PDFs.
Yeah, well, yeah, PDF they could do it, but yeah, I think a lot of people go PDF. I don't. Nothing against PDFs, folks. Obviously, Chris swears by them. But the physical book is what you're selling to.
Mm-hmm.
So please be honest about where your physical product is going to be as well, if you can, when you're doing these crowdfunding campaigns, because you want to give your customers a range. Because, like, I get stuff in the mail all the time, and it's like, well, when is this supposed to come back out? When is this supposed to come out? I'm always having to check back and forth. Because people will send me, the book is out. Well, if the book is out, why haven't I got it yet?
Right.
And it's because it isn't out. The PDF is out, but the book's coming in like 2-3 months. Well, then don't tell me the book is out, because the book isn't out. The PDF is out. There's a difference.
Right.
say the PDF is out. So anyway, cool looking art.
Yeah, I like it.
And just fun thing. Again, there's a lot of people having fun with this. So main cover and postcard, 30-page issue. Your digital edition is only $5, so you can get your digital edition. That's when you can get delivered in October 25. What is the version though? That's the thing.
November.
Well, that sounds okay. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that sounds like it's possible, depending on where you're getting it printed and everything. It says only certain countries, so who knows what the deal is there too. So, because they're printing, I don't know where they're printing out of. It sounds like they're printing out of America, but who knows? Or shipping out of America. But
Right. Yeah. Well, it's probably the U.S. and Canada, and
yeah, but we'll see. But yeah, all right, coolness. All right, I'm saying like a 65% for me. How about you?
Probably about the same. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what our next one is. Our friend Grant Lankard's Memoirs of the Morbid. This is the new he just started this one. More of the kind of like what we do with all the other horror anthologies that I tend to buy or used to buy from DC and stuff. This is just, if you want to call it the low rent district version.
Greetings, ghouls and boils. I'm the Ghoul Master, a loving homage to horror anthology narrators of yesteryear. Wait, an homage? Why didn't anybody tell me? You'll hear from my agent about this. But first, let's get to the heart of the matter. I'm here to tell you about the new horror anthology, Memoirs of the Morbid, on Kickstarter in time for Halloween. Memoirs of the Morbid is a black and white homage to classic horror comics from the 40s and 50s, containing 5 self-contained stories by some of the best indie comic creators out there. There's that word again. Better not find out homage is an insult. Anyways, Memoirs of the Morbid is completely done and ready to go to the printer. So don't make a grave mistake by missing it.
Okay. Of course, this is Grant's take on Vault of Horror, Creep Show, Tales of Script. And this is Imagine Space. Office Space meets The Exorcist in the first story. So that ought to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
People walk around the office like emotional zombies. Actually, that sounds kind of normal.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
But what happens is they're actually zombies. Bubble, a scientist working on a time machine, discovers a primitive man who might just have shocking origins. Fiona's Fantasy Forest. The children's show host Fiona has been to her imaginary world and wants to say things have gone downhill. So, what are you doing? Invaders is a space traveler needs to confront an invading alien on a ship and either kill it or escape. And so, this is, a little bit more of multitude of range here. This is science fiction, this is fantasy, this is a lot of different things rolled into
dark satire.
Yeah, it's a lot of different things rolled into one. So that should be kind of cool. The narrator, of course, is the Ghoul Master. Pastiche, whatever. There's the one cover. There's another version. I like the little bear drinking the booze.
Right, yeah.
This is a really cool cover.
Yeah, I like that one.
And then the bubble cover. So, again, so you've got Grant Lankard, Brian K. Morris, Will Conway, Alberto Asola, Samir Simao, and David Schuler on the books, and should be pretty decent, $11. for oversized, like 40 page, 80 page, was it 40, 50 page plus. So you're getting a little bit oversized book. Normal comic book costs $5, so $11 is reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would probably go with the Invaders cover. That's the one I like the best. I don't know about you.
I like the bear drinking the whiskey.
Okay, that would be the D cover.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay. And of course, you can't get the digital memoirs catch up, which means you get all the other print versions, which we've already promoted before in the past and done for. And you can also get all three prints, all three issues in print for $35. So you're getting a reasonable thing. He's got them all there for you. I'm thinking I'll get this one probably 85-90%. Probably get this one. How about you?
Yeah, I would absolutely back this.
Okay. Alrighty. We got a few more here. Midnight Tiger Evo, #1, new unlaunching series. This is got quite a few days to go. As you can see, it's growing. It's about halfway through its mark. They got an 8,500 gold of just under 4,000, 149 backers. Midnight Tiger has been out. This is like the next chapter in the series, but they've been doing this for quite some time. Let's check it out.
Studio Sky Tiger Comics.
Okay. There's a lot of different places you can go and learn about the history of these characters from the studio and from Ray Anthony Height. Ray's been around probably 20 plus years now, I would say. Is that about right, Chris?
Yeah, about that.
He's worked for Marvel. He's worked for DC. Certainly reliable artist. This is his own creation. I remember reading Midnight Tiger when he was getting it through Ape Entertainment. Of course, Ape Entertainment kind of had a business implosion, and he had to fight for 3 years to get his rights back and everything, but now he's finally got them back. And they put the book out as a graphic novel, all the original stuff, and now they're just relaunching from what is after the graphic novel. So what can we get here? The 40-page comic that has a Sean Hill double-sided cover for $20, delivered in December of 2025. Your name gets involved for in the clubhouse plays, not the clubhouse, but the clubhouse. The digital print wallpaper made exclusively for the campaign. The digital version is $6. The digital double is $10. The early bird special is $15. There's still 40 left of 100 of that. Yeah, but it's basically $20 for each version of the covers, and they got multiple covers, as you can see. The 25 for Ray Anthony Heights cover, and 35 for the Thomas Perkins cover. There's a retailer tier minimum. You get 10 copies of the Sean Damien Hill cover. And in the cover collection, you can get all the covers for $100, which would be like 9 different books for $100. Sketch cover is actually, now the reason it says $250, and you might think, well, that's often this sketch cover should be cheap. He's not sending you a blank cover. He's sending you an actual original sketch on the cover. So there's only going to be 20 of these in existence. That's why it's so high priced. So there's just a lot of cool stuff. This is some of the stuff he's worked on in the past. X-Men Blue, DC Power with the Power Company, Dr. Aphra, Moon Girl, and Devil Dinosaur, to give you an idea of some of the books he's worked on in the past. And here's some of the pages. Bless you. And of course, there's they're showing you that Monkey Man and O'Brien is actually tied into their world base now.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
They got permission from Art Adams to do that, and there's some other people in there as well. So there's for other characters. Impossible Jones, Molly Danger, Stray, the Dynamo 5, Noble Causes. So there's some really cool things looking in there. Now, exactly if they're all, I don't know if they're all in the same, what kind of cameos they are.
Right.
But, because like you saw that Monkey Man O'Brien, it's like, yeah, it's a cameo, but they're like, oh, they're going to be in a movie. Okay. Are they really in the same shared universe or not?
Right.
But whatever. It's cool. Just to see many of these characters, because some of these characters haven't been in print for a real long time, and some of them, wish we could kind of go back, and have them more. But yeah, lots of cool stuff. I'm kind of just like looking at it and saying, and there's more covers from Cully Hamner, Frank Uzon, so there's just a lot of stuff that you can get on this one. You get your sketch card or right there from the character. You can get a T-shirt, mini prints, stickers, keychain, other stuff like that. So lots of cool stuff. What are you thinking about this one?
I like the art. It's not my thing, but I do like I do like the art.
Okay. I have to go back and reread the original stuff because I got the trade hardcover a while back, and I don't know if I even sat down and read it yet, but I know I got it. And if I like that when I read, I'll probably get this. But if I don't feel it for this one, then I'll pass. We'll rely on how I feel about it after I've read the other stuff. Okay, let's see what else we got. We've got Sharp Eye from Daniel M. Benson. This is a daylight noir sci-fi comic set in the hot, fetid ruins of the far future North America. It kind of, again, feels like a Magnolia type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
The art looks cool, but that video did nothing and absolutely nothing to tell me what the hell this is even about.
Yeah. I mean, a holy man heeds the call of an ancient sunken treasure. This long-buried secret can reshape the covenant between earth and sky, and the powers of the world want it for themselves. The zealous priest would kill to keep his weapon hidden, while a merchant princess would wield its might against heaven itself. Above them all, the enigmatic divas watch with their cosmic judgment poised to fall. Okay, I'm not really getting it. Are you getting it?
No, not really getting the story. I might be tempted to buy this on the art alone, though.
Yeah, the art looks cool. Um,
The art is phenomenal.
this is 40. They're going to do it 11 by 7, so it's going to be a slightly oversized, not a normal comic. 48-page softcover comic book with a spine. They're hoping to get it out a year from now, or probably have issue 2 ready by a year from now. Okay, so 44 pages, 6 pages of other materials. The book is done. I don't know. You can get. I don't know. Um. Yeah, I just don't know. There's not enough.
Look, guys, your art is phenomenal, but you need to do a damn lot better at explaining what this is even about.
Yeah, you got 9 days to go. I mean, they've got their money.
They got their money. They're going to be doing fine.
But I mean, it's basically being sold on the art. The concept just isn't really. The art is what caught my eye to begin with, but I have to have a concept, and I really don't. I'm not feeling it. So, oh well. But maybe somebody else will check it out. All right, let's see what else we got. We have Starseeds, the New Sphere, number 1 and number 2.
Hi, my name is Charles Glavitz. I'm a comic book artist, and I love telling stories. I'm inviting you to support my latest project.
I'll be right
It's
back.
called Starseeds, the New Sphere. I've been making comics for the past 15 years and doing art and illustration for over 25 years. These are some of the books I've self-published. Once Upon a Time in Tijuana, 1, 2, and 3, Dark Star, Amplituhedron, and zines. I've also been published by Fantagraphics, 3 volumes of Starseeds. Volume 1 in 2017, Volume 2 2019, and Volume 3 in 2023. Now, I'm inviting you to support the next chapter of this story, Starseeds the Noosphere, issues 1 and 2. It's 56 pages of black and white comic art telling the story of the Rainbow Twins, Arco and Iris, and the beautiful dreamer Hadron, as they go on a voyage through the psychic dreamscape, trying to reach the noosphere, a place where ideas are born and where they just might become the kind of ideas that can change the world. Thanks for watching, and thank you so much for your support.
Alrighty. So, first glance, the art's pretty cool. it's a little too trippy for my taste. I don't know. This isn't necessarily my type of story. Not really into metaphysical sci-fi, that sort of thing, lucid dreaming, uh, sort of thing. Seems to be about. But that being said, they have reached their goal, so this comic will get made. They got 9 days to go, and so if this is your kind of thing, check it out, and hopefully they can make a few more bucks on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this 100%. But then I'm a fan of Starseed. I've got all 3 volumes from Panagraphics, so this is like a gimme for me. But yeah, let's take a quicker look down here. And again, it may not be your cuppa. It is very abstract in different times.
Right.
This is from Power. This is from Power Pulp as well. You guys might remember Power Pulp Comics. Jimmy Jones has been on the show promoting that new company and stuff. We've been to that website a couple of times in the last couple of months. So, make sure you go check it out over there. But if you like Mobius or The Invisibles remixed with ancestral science fiction, this is what you're going to probably be into. And there's some of this painting. It's a 72-page, 56 pages of story with 14 pages of sketchbook in process. And this, you can kind of look at this and see the abstract stuff, but you also see the oh shoot, I can't think of his name. Alex Toth and the French in it. Do you know who Frank Thorner did Red Sonja in the 70s?
Yes, very familiar.
Okay, can you see that in this art?
Yeah, I can see a little bit of it. Yeah.
Okay. Now look at that. That's a cool looking skull.
Well, that's a vivisection of a human face.
Yes, but it looks cool, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
But yeah, that's the kind of thing. And then there's number 2, black and white self-published edition. More. Just really cool stuff here to me. And again, there you go. Alex Toth with the spider, and it looks like it came out of Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
So there you go. But this guy's awesome. So I'm just really looking forward to this, and you can get some other books as well. What does he want here? The PDF bundle is $15 for both books. Number 2 is $16 by itself. Number 1 is $16, so you're paying $32 for both, and getting a doodle inside if you want. The little sketch remark type thing inside a little bit, and like $42 for both. The doodle inside. That's probably what I'll end up getting. So we'll see. $42 for that is reasonable. But you might want to get the art zine too. So get what you can. There's all kinds of options here.
Right.
And you can also get a 6x9 inch full ink Bristol sketch for $75, which isn't bad either. So lots of options. So there you go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this week's reviews. However, we did get some cool stuff in the mail. You guys remember when we talked with Kelly Jones and Matt Wagner about the Dracula book? Well, look what I got today. Now, I haven't taken it out of the plastic yet, so I suppose I should open it, right?
Yeah. Gotta see what's inside. very carefully.
This is a very, very much tight shrink wrap here. And of course, I've got the monster trying to climb my back here, as you can see. Oh, that's okay. Where are you going? Where are you going?
I was wondering what you're doing.
There we go. We get this thing off of here. Bill, get out of here. Come on. Lots of plastic everywhere. There we go. What plastic? Yeah, I'm going to follow the plastic. I'm going to take the plastic away from you. Hey. All right. Let's take a quick look at this. There's your front cover. There's the back cover. Oh my gosh. He's got Alan Moore's Dracula. But anyway, ooh, nice inside cover.
Yes, beautiful.
Yes, very nice. Okay.
Yep. Kelly being the master of light and shadow.
Yes. There's a little bit of stuff from Bram Stoker over here on the other page. It's hard for me to read it because it's in red on black.
Yes, your old nemesis. Red on black.
Yeah, I just that is one thing I don't care for. Should be yellow. I'm sorry. The reason why I put yellow on black on my show. But there you go. Some really nice stuff here. I'm gonna give a review on this hopefully next week. We'll get this read, and then of course there's some of the.
Yeah, just gorgeous stuff, man.
Okay, so we got that this week, and then today at the video store.
Ooh, the War of the Rohirrim.
Lord of the Rings. We're waiting to see this, and for some reason I missed it in the theaters, and I don't know what it was. We couldn't get copies on this online. We had a hard time.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, I came across it, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get this.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
Yeah, but, well, that's just, I don't have Netflix. That's probably what it was. Okay. But anyway, that's what I got this week so far. And so that's pretty much the cool stuff there. Now, we do have, let me see if I can find it here. What's going on Thursday? What are we showing on Thursday? I don't know. What are we showing? Where is it? There it is. John will be with us. We're covering the complete Web of Horror hardcover edition, which is a monster thick bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. We got Batman. Hold on a second.
Second night.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully, the last day of H.P. Lovecraft will be in, so I can get a chance to read it, or at least we'll be able to find it online to read. That was the plan. John's back with Turtles. I don't know if he's going to get to read number 29, but he's a little. I think he's like on 27 or 28, but he'll be covering. I think he's covering Turtles this week. You're covering Pale Knight number 4 and number 5, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm covering Escape number 2. I didn't know if you wanted to try and get Orphan in the 5 Beast Bath of Blood number 1, or is that just going to be me?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay. There's RoboWolf #3 from Dark Horse. That's from our friend Jake Smith. And then we're going to finally get that review for The Wrath for Million. And there'll be more because I don't know what all John's bringing to the table. So, we'll have plenty to talk about, though, on Thursday. And then on Friday, you said you needed a break from the documentaries. You've been nagging me about this film for quite some time. So we're going to watch Color Out of Space starring Nicolas Cage and talk about that on Friday. And have you got do you have your...
David is currently working on the next guest. So.
Okay, we don't know.
We don't have anything definitive for Saturday yet.
Okay. All right. Well, that being said, I want to thank Joseph C. Wolf, the really one of my best friends from college. I mean, we've been friends for over 30 years, and I'm very happy for him in the course that his career's taken, not just with Dungeon Dwellers, but overall. I mean, he's worked for so many different gaming companies, both video game and role playing. I couldn't be happier for him, and also his lovely wife Rose, who wasn't here tonight, but we'll get her on the show to talk sometime down the future, I'm sure. Just a wonderful person in her own right. So thanks for being on the show, Joseph. We appreciate it. Again, to get more information on that, go to ddrpg.reapermini.com. And that pretty much covers our show for the week. So if you want to reach out to me or Chris, you got Chris at the Barnator, ghthrowingstones@gmail.com. You want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook at Lewis.BrightRaven, Twitter at LewisBrightRaven, or X. I still call it Twitter. I'm sorry, I can't call it X.
Or the Muskrat Channel.
Yeah, the Muskrat Channel. That's what we call it. You can see more of my artwork at deviantart.com/BrightRaven. You can see more of Chris's art at deviantart.com/FatBoy73. You're watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, exclusively on YouTube. Again, you can reach me at QuothRavenLBR72@gmail.com. If I don't get back to you, try Lewis Bright Raven at yahoo.com. That's all we got for you tonight. It's been a long show.
In large part to me.
Yeah. He geeks out tonight. This boy geeked out like I have never seen him geek out before. But that's fine. I'm happy that I finally got someone that you want to talk to.
Right?
Anyway, that's all for tonight, folks. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a great night. Have a great Wednesday and the rest of your week. Until then, see you next time. With the Raven, nevermore.
Nevermore.